2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
You know, I've probably watched that clip 2,000 times in the last 20 years, and every single time I get goosebumps. It's amazing.
I get the chills.
I just got the chills.
Crazy. Just and you know, one of the scenes I didn't see was the stands. I mean, people were just going nuts.
Yes, they were. Well, today is Frank Robinson's last game as a major league manager, and it's been interesting watching Frank the last couple of days. He's been displaying a lot of emotion related to what is the end of a half-century of tenure as a baseball player, executive, manager. And we don't know what the future holds for Frank, but clearly he is relishing and deserving of all the honors that are being bestowed on him this weekend.
Well, he's one of the great players, and talk about a lifetime service to the game. A lot of things that were said when Ronnie and I were playing when we were younger, giving back to the game, I think that's kind of lost today because players are making so much more money now. And Frank is certainly one of those guys that has given back to the game with his life. Baseball's been his life. And it's just a shame that the great ones cannot play and not get old and be timeless. And you can see Frank Robinson in 1961 or 66 when he was MVP, and watch him play because he was such a great player.
Well, right now, the tribute to Frank Robinson here in Washington is underway. Let's join the public address announcer here at RFK Stadium.
I'm Charlie Slows, the radio voice of the Nationals. It's been my pleasure to call these games the past 2 years. Certainly the excitement of the inaugural season last year and every single minute of it here the past 2 years. Over the past 5 seasons, this baseball team has taken quite a journey. From Montreal through Puerto Rico to its arrival here in Washington, D.C. Through it all, one man has captained this ship. He has been the bedrock for the players through times of uncertainty and the face of this team as it found its new home here in our nation's capital. His legacy in this game is unrivaled. Rookie of the Year, a Triple Crown winner, the only player to be named most valuable player in both leagues, 586 home runs, a world champion, an inductee to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. He has been a trailblazing manager and a wonderful ambassador for this great game. There's more, folks. His contributions to the Washington Nationals will forever be cherished by his players, his devoted fans, and by the Washington Nationals' new ownership. Frank Robinson is a hero to many, an icon to all, and a legend in Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, may I please direct your attention to the video board in right center field for a special tribute to the enduring legacy of Frank Robinson. Frank, on behalf of your Nationals players and the staff and all of the players and staff who have worked with you, the Lerner family and its partners, Major League Baseball, those fortunate like myself who have been lucky enough to talk baseball with you for a few minutes every day, and most of all, the fans. The fans here at RFK Stadium today and throughout the past 2 seasons and throughout the years in ballparks all across America. We salute you. We say thank you for an extraordinary journey and an amazing 51 years in professional baseball. Ladies and gentlemen, I call to the microphone in the curly W, number 20, Frank Robinson. They're all yours, Skipper.
Where do you start? A lot of people say I'll never be lost for words. But 51 years ago, that number is hard to come out of my mouth because I would have felt lucky when I started this game just to put 1 year in at this level. Then I got greedy and wanted to put 5 in. Then it was 10. Then it was 15. Then it was 21 as a player. Then it was time to do something else. And I was fortunate enough to be able to find this position with the Cleveland Indians. And I've been very fortunate to do it for 16 years. In the meantime, I've had a lot of stops in between to do other things, but I still wasn't very far away from this game of baseball. This is a great game. It's getting better all the time. And it's going to continue to get better because the players are getting better. They're having tremendous years, creating a lot of excitement for your fans, chasing a lot of records and setting a lot of records. And that's what the game is all about. Before I go any further into this, and I'm going to finish up, I want to say a few things. And remember, we always love to have a game to play. First of all, I would really like to take the time to congratulate, as a matter of fact, the New York Mets organization for winning the Eastern Division Championship. Omar Minaya, the rest of the organization, Willie Randolph, his coaching staff, and the players. Great season, guys. I'd like to thank the Washington Nationals for giving me the opportunity to manage this ball club. It's been a good 2 years here. I've enjoyed it. The players have enjoyed it. This was a great spot to come for the Montreal Expos team that was sold and brought here. This is a great baseball city. You know, when we came here, people wondered what type of reception we would get from the city, the district, whatever it's called, to be politically correct. And I said we would get a great reception here because the fans are good baseball fans here. But what I didn't really realize, I knew you would turn out in great numbers and support the team, but what I didn't really realize was how you would open up your arms and your heart to this team and to me. It's been wonderful, and I've had a great ride. I'd like to thank the players for their effort that they gave me, the supporting staff, trainers, equipment manager, Mike Wallace is the fixture here, everybody over here. I thank you, I thank you, I thank you for what you did for me. You made my job much easier, and you gave me what I always want from one of my teams, and that's the effort on the field every day. Contrary to what a lot of people may think, I'm not retiring. I have had my time as far as a manager, but there's other things to do. And I feel like I'm the one to carry that burden and that load away from the field. There's a lot of things I want to try to accomplish for others that are going to come after me. There's a lot of other things in baseball I think can be done much more politically correct. I'm looking for opportunities for people that are qualified to fill positions in different organizations in baseball. I have a lot of work to do. I've always tried to give back to this game. I've always tried to reach out and help people in this game, and I will continue to do that because I had a lot of help from people to get where I am today, and I appreciate that, and I'm going to give and give until I can't give anymore. And in closing, really, I'll get this over with. I don't have any regrets for anything that happened to me in this game. People said to me, don't you feel cheated or slighted that you didn't get 3,000 hits? No, because I had a great career, came up a little short. How about 600 home runs? Nope, I had 586, came up a little short. But I have no regrets, no regrets, no regrets about this game. All I've tried to do is make this game a little better because that's what I do and respect this game and always will. And and in closing, this team, me personally, my family, want to thank each and every one of you that's here today and everybody else in this district, and I think that's correct. The way you treated me and my family, you made us feel at home here, relaxed and whatever. You made these ball players feel wanted and at home and relaxed and go out on the field. What we drew from was your energy that you brought to this ballpark every day. But what I appreciated even more than that was the way you treated the players, myself, when we were away from the ballpark. Frank, how you doing today? I'm fine. What did you guys do last night? We lost. Hey, that's okay. Don't worry about it. We're just glad to have you here. And you know, that meant a lot. And you know, I've overcome a lot of obstacles in this game and in my life. And you know, I never asked for anything to be given to me. And some tough times have come about in my career and my life. There's no doubt about that. And you know, all I asked for was a chance. And I got that chance. And I'm saving really the best really for last, kind of, okay? The two people that are standing here on my left are the most important people in my life. And that's my wife and my daughter. And without their support, I wouldn't have been able to do this for 51 years. But in closing, I've never done anything harder than I have to do right now. And that's to say goodbye.
Well, it certainly gives you an idea of the level of respect and esteem with which Frank Robinson is held throughout this game, that the entire Mets team would come over to wish him well on the occasion of his final game as a major league manager. And this is truly an extraordinary scene. And I don't know how he held it together, what he managed to do.
I almost didn't hold it together.
What a wonderful tribute.
Frank Robinson has so many ties to so many people throughout this game, through everything that he's done in his career, whether it's as a player, as a manager, as an executive with Major League Baseball. And he deserves every bit of this. Bringing up the lineup card to home plate for one final time. Willie Randolph said yesterday, if it weren't for Frank Robinson, I wouldn't be here. One final game to be played in the 2006 regular season. We'll come back with the first pitch in a moment. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by ChevyOffers.com, the presenting sponsor of Baseball Night in New York. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Aflac, ask about it at work. By Rico, move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. And by Honda, see your Honda dealer and discover the great values now being offered. Set to go in Washington, Cliff Floyd leading off for the first time since 1998. And he takes ball one from Ramon Ortiz.
Ramon Ortiz, this is his 200th career start, 5 out of the last 6 years, 30-plus starts. But he's 0-2 with a 5.82 ERA against the Mets this season.
Floyd, his first appearance since getting a cortisone shot in his ankle on Thursday, and trying to get as many at bats as possible, and that's why he's hitting leadoff today. And Cliff lifts one along the third base side. Zimmerman, lots of room over there, and that's the first out of the game. So 1 out and nobody on. Here's the ChevyOffers.com Mets lineup, and there you see Cliff's lifetime numbers batting leadoff. Julio Franco gets another start at first base. Carlos Delgado still suffering from general body soreness. Jose Reyes not playing today, protecting a 300 batting average. But Paul LeDuc is in the lineup. His 300 batting average is pretty safe at 319, 6th in the National League.
And I am sure that he would love to hit over 320.
Well, he's had 3 straight multiple hit games, LeDuc has. So he is finishing strong, which has not always been LeDuc's MO.
You know, I was at the bat rack today, Keith, and I picked up Paul LeDuc's bat. Now, you guys at home, don't tell him. So I picked up his bat. It can't be longer than 32 inches, or 32.5 inches. Very, very short bat.
Well, look how close to the plate he is. And that is why. And remember, Rusty used Rusty was 200 when he played with us. He was maybe 230. Am I being generous or what? But Rusty would. You look how close to the plate, how deep in the box he is. Rusty stood right on top of the plate and used a very small bat as far as its length. And the Ford Nationals defense, Soriano out in left field today and the day off yesterday. 22 assists on the season. It's the same lineup as yesterday. Fick out and right again. Schneider behind the plate.
1-2 to LaDuca.
Are they doing that on purpose? Are they making that Ford logo smaller every day?
I'm getting to the point now where I recognize it by its color.
Here's the thing, though. You've got 6 months to rest your eyes so that next spring when you come back, you'll be able to see that logo much clearer. To the second baseman, Castro. And there are 2 away.
You know what needs most rest? I just found out, this is obviously the first year I've worked this many games, is my ears need a rest.
Really?
From having the earphones on. I'm going to be deaf in 10 years.
You're just tired of listening to me and Ron?
I've loved listening to you.
What are you getting, cauliflower
I
ears?
got a tuning fork in my ear. So it feels like.
Here's Carlos Beltran, who set a Mets club record last night, has a chance for a couple more today. 127 runs scored for Beltran. That's a new record. He's got 41 home runs, 80 extra base hits. That ties him for a couple of club marks, but he won't get one here. Soriano in shallow left. And Beltran retired, and so are the Mets. 1-2-3 before Ramon Ortiz in the opening inning. No score in the nation's capital. Oliver Perez gets the final day start in place of Steve Traxel. And here's the Nationals lineup he'll face, brought to you by Rico. Alfonso Soriano back in the lineup today after sitting out last night. Ryan Schneider gets the final day call behind the plate. First appearance for him in this series. As the Nationals wrap up what has been a 90-loss season.
Well, Oliver Perez getting the start today, but this is a game, really, to tell you the truth, folks, back at home, that Perez will pitch a few innings, but this is one of those few games where the bullpen work is more important than the person starting the game, as Willie Randolph is really going to empty that bullpen to give everyone an inning who needs it.
Bernie Castro leading off 0 for 8 in this series. Well, the Mets don't play till Wednesday, and I think that's had an impact on the Mets' decision making for this game today. To Castro.
This guy at times, Keith, looks overmatched, doesn't he?
He does. And he should never overswing. He should just be a little bit of a line drive hitter.
Short hop by right, and he throws out the speedy Castro, 1 away.
Geico Met defense. You see Anderson Hernandez gets a start today. Jose Reyes sitting down. He's got that 300 batting average secure for the season, so he's going to sit down today. Anderson Hernandez will get the start. Valentin back in the lineup, and of course out there in left field, Cliff Floyd.
Here's Felipe Lopez, who's had himself a nice season, half with Cincinnati and half with Washington.
It looks like he's going to be a nice fixture for them in that #2 hole for few years to come.
Now, what happens when Christian Guzman comes back next year? He still has 2 years left on his contract. He was out all year with an injury. They've also got Vidro signed for 2 more years.
Well, it depends on how he comes back, because I saw Christian Guzman play last year, and he was having one of the worst offensive years in the history of the game. At one point hitting 170 in early August.
So the question is, if you've got Lopez, who you want to be a fixture in your middle infield, and you have 2 other middle infielders signed at fairly decent dollars for the next 2 years, neither one of whom might be movable, you got yourself a problem. And Perez strikes out Lopez for the second out.
Well, that being said, Christian Guzman, fine fielder, might be able to see this pitch from Perez up, out of the strike zone of Lopez. Christian Guzman is a great fielder. So maybe you move him over to second base, keep Lopez, and those are your middle infielders. Guzman, I think, is a lot stronger than Bernie Castro as a hitter.
And see what you can get for Vidro on the trade market, although, again, 2 more years on his contract, he might be hard to move. Here's Soriano, who will be a free agent tomorrow. He and his agent have already scheduled talks with the Nationals this coming Wednesday to see whether the Nats can make an offer that will induce him to sign before he goes on the open market. And he lines one right at David Wright, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Oliver Perez. So quick work, 10 pitches for Perez, and a little hop to boot. No score as we go to the second. We go to the second inning in Washington. What must he be thinking?
Boy, I'd love to know. Probably reliving all those 51 years of being in baseball. 5,000th game yesterday as a player and a manager.
A little knuckleball behind the mound, and no play for Lopez. An infield single for David Wright. What a strangely hit ball that was.
Fastball in, he got jammed. Oh, geez, you're right. The ricochet there.
Ortiz looked like he was riding a pony.
So David Wright will finish the season with a 12-game hitting streak heading into the postseason. David has done some extraordinary things in his first 2 years, first 2 full years in the big leagues. Here's Sean Green, who had a 3-run homer last night. And that's certainly a good sign heading into Wednesday.
Well, I'd like to see Green parlay yesterday into a nice day today. A little confidence going into the postseason.
Sean has been to the postseason, but only briefly with the Dodgers 2 years ago, and he lines one over the head of Vidro and down the line. Wright will go to third. Green on his way to second, and the Mets have runners in scoring position with nobody out. 31st double of the year for Sean Green.
Well, good hitting right here. Fastball tried to go down and in. Probably needed to get it up and in. Got in a little bit on him, not enough. Obviously, that ball was hit hard. Good hitting by Green, and the Mets again are in business early.
So here's Julio Franco, who last night, for the first time in 12 years, drove in 5 runs in a game. Had a single, double, and home run. Had 2 cracks at that triple for the cycle. He said, if I hit one in the gap, I would have run till they tagged me out.
That's called the Sergio Beltre effect. For you old Met fans who used to know some minor leaguers from the Mets used to have an outfielder, Sergio Beltre. Didn't matter where he hit it, he would just run until they tagged him out.
It works in Little League. And Franco breaks his bat and fouls it away.
My recommendation for Julio Franco, or Mr. Geradol as we could call him, is to just have 1 page in the record book. Because everything he does now is the oldest, greatest thing ever. So just 1 page just for Julio Franco for the next year and a half.
What was the thing that Manny Minoso played in? How many decades, Garrett, do you recall?
I think it was 6, but that was more as a novelty than anything else.
Yeah, he played until he was in the 60s, right?
Right. But they'd bring him back. They brought him back a couple of times just for one at bat in a new decade.
It was the days of Bill Veeck, right, of the White Sox.
Right. Infield back for Franco, and he pulls the swing in time. It's 1-1.
Well, check swing right there. Couldn't hold back.
Right back up the middle, and that'll bring home a run. David Wright is in. Green is held at third, and another RBI for Julio Franco. Don't let the season end. He's hot. 26 RBIs for the year for Franco, 6 in the last 2 days.
Salary drive here. Look at this, trying to come inside. The ball's away and a rip up the middle. And that's a good sign for the Mets because Franco has been struggling, and now he's seems to have his stroke. You see I think they're going to play it safe today, not take a chance on anything that's going to be close. I think Maniac is going to put the red light up.
Here's Jose Valentin, first and third and nobody out, and he takes ball 1. Let's check in with Chris Cotter. Chris?
Hey, Gary, you know, you were talking about Julio's last 2 at-bats. Yesterday I talked to him after the game, and he also showed how old school he was. He said, with a 13-0 lead, I'm not sure how much I would have pushed it in those last 2 at-bats. You notice I took the first pitch, didn't want to rub it in. So a little old school coming out in Julio as well.
Well, he certainly understands how to play the game. Little protecting of his teammate last night when the media was trying to get some comments out of Lasting's Millage. Toward the hole, and a base hit for Valentin, and that'll bring home Sean Green. And the Mets have a 2-0 lead. 4 straight hits to start the 2nd inning. RBI number 62 for Valentin.
Well, you can see why Ortiz here has an ERA over 5, Ron. He doesn't have much of an off-speed pitch. He just a lot of fastballs and a hard slider.
Everything's hard. His changeup, he really shows it to you. He really slows down his arm speed. So it's surprising too, because Randy St. Clair, when he pitched for Montreal, had an outstanding changeup. And you would think that, you know, a lot of times when a pitching coach has an outstanding pitch, he's able to impart that to the people on his team.
And it seems to me that when Ortiz was with the Angels and having success early in his career, he had a pretty good changeup, didn't he?
He did. He had a circle change that he threw, but he threw a little harder too. So when you throw a little harder, you can get away with a bad changeup occasionally.
And he always had a high ERA. His ERAs were always up there. Just a hard thrower.
He does take the ball. You know what I mean? 5 of the last 6 years, 30+ starts. So, you know, he's a gamer in that way. He'll take the ball. He'll go out there. He'll throw strikes. I think, honestly, he throws too many strikes.
He had 1 year with the Angels in 2002, the year they won the World Series. He went 15-9, 3.77. Anderson Hernandez deep toward the gap in right center, and that's an extra base hit, and that'll bring home 2 more. Franco and Valentin score. Hernandez will easily get to 3rd with a triple, his first in the big leagues. 2 RBIs, and it's 4-0 New York.
Another fat pitch, I guess. Yes, sir. Right down Broadway, and Anderson Hernandez jumps all over it. And it's been a struggle for Anderson offensively, and this is a nice little triple for him.
But you know, he swung the bat better since he came back from the minor leagues.
Yes, he has.
He had that big home run from the right side at Shea Stadium. 400 foot of home run.
Here's Perez with the infield in, and he chops one. Vidro has to retreat, but the runner will hold, and that's the first down.
That was the end of 5 straight hits for the Mets.
You talked last night, Keith, about the Mets breakout and talked about facing the Nationals pitching staff. And if you're facing pitchers who are struggling and you're putting up big numbers against them, does that prepare you to face the kind of high quality pitching you're likely to face early in the postseason?
Well, it's not a matter of preparation for the quality pitching. You face the guys. So they play the Dodgers. They face Lowe. They face Penny. It's just if you look at Billy Traber out there in the bullpen for Washington, you're just facing the next level up in pitching. But this is, for this team who's been struggling, the Mets, offensively, this is obviously a confidence builder. I mean, you're not going to get these kind of pitches from the Pennies and the Lows. You know, it's the last place team, and there's a reason why it's a last place team. And there's a reason why the Dodgers are a first place team or a wild card team. And the teams that are on top obviously have better pitching.
1-0 to Floyd with the infield in. And he lines one to center. It'll stay up for Church and go over his head. Hernandez trots home. Floyd laboring as he moves into second base with an RBI double. And it's 5-0 New York. Now Ryan Church is a corner outfielder playing center field. They always say the toughest one is the one hit right at you.
Well, this could have happened to any outfielder. This is what you call a frozen rope. That was a bullet.
And he also had the backspin on it, right, Keith? So that ball, instead of dropping, that ball just kept its line as we watched Cliff Floyd labor.
And he looks like he's hurting a little bit.
Well, he wanted to push it today. He had that cortisone shot 3 days ago. Certainly nothing wrong with his bat based on the way he just hit that ball. And that's why he's going to be in the lineup if Willie chooses to play him.
Ortiz mixed in a slider there. Throw something else. Throw like batting practice.
This is called punt.
Jeez.
5 runs on 6 hits for the Mets here in the second, and LaDuca takes a strike, 1-1.
Nothing cheap. I mean, there's been rockets hit.
David Wright hit that little knuckleball past the mound, and ever since then, everything's been just crushed. In tight to LaDuca, 2-1. Well, Ramon Ortiz has been the only guy in that Nationals rotation who has survived the entire year. They've had trades, they've had injuries. Toward the hole, and a base hit for LaDuca. Floyd will go to third, and he's being waved home. Here comes the throw by Fick to the plate, not in time, and Floyd manages to lumber his way in on the base hit by LaDuca to make it 6-0. I was a little surprised to see Maniac descend him, but I guess he wanted to test him out.
See how he's running.
Well, just beautiful hitting by LaDuca. Nice level swing. We've seen him all year go the other way. Rainbow throw in, and Cliff got a little more than he bargained for, didn't he?
Well, Frank Robinson getting a little more face time, a little more that he not care for right here in the second inning, as he's forced to pull his starter Ramon Ortiz from his final start of the year. Mets have put up 6 runs in the second inning and still going, and the Nationals go to the bullpen with Billy Traber. Get out your Mets gear and head to Sportsnet New York Plaza in Midtown for the Mets postseason rally on Tuesday at noon. All fans will need to enter at 51st Street and 7th Avenue to gain access to the rally at 51st and 6th. Join Met fans, Mr. Met, and some surprise guests. Celebrate the year you've been waiting for. For more information, visit Mets.com. Frank Robinson, after last year when he got surprisingly good performances from his pitching staff, has had to suffer through the worst pitching in the National League this year.
Well, his bullpen was outstanding last year, and in fact, one of the guys that's missing from their bullpen, Luis Ayala, I saw today, he said he's doing great. As Billy Traber comes in the game, Billy Traber, of course, this is his 7th relief appearance. Did not appear in relief since 2003 before going in the bullpen for the Nationals, but his best game this year was a start against the New York Mets, I believe it's Shea.
No, it was here.
Oh, it's here?
Yeah. And he pitched a wonderful game against the Mets, the team that drafted him in the first round. Carlos Beltran flying to left his first time up. Mets have stitched together 7 hits to score 6 runs here in the second inning. And Beltran pops it up. Shortstop Lopez, and there are 2 away. So 2 out, and here's David Wright, who began this inning by hitting one back through the wickets on Ramon Ortiz, and that was the beginning of the end for Ortiz. Wright takes a strike. Traber faced the Mets here on the 11th of August. He worked 7 innings, allowed 1 run, 4 hits, no walks, and won the game 2-1 against Glavine.
Well, he comes from the school of slow, slower, and slowest.
The Stu Miller school.
Yes. Throw it right under hitting speed.
You remember Stu Miller, right, Keith?
Of course I do. The famous hat flew into center field. A wind almost blew him over in Candlestick Park in the All-Star game.
Remember Stu Miller later with the Orioles. Whoa. That breaking ball didn't break, and it's 2-2.
Well, Traber's a big, tall, skinny left-hander, doesn't throw very hard, and needs to have all of his pitches working. Kind of a fine line for him to be successful.
And Wright lines one to center, and he's got his second hit of the inning. And the Mets' 8th hit of the inning.
This is scary.
So Wright gets the hit off the left-hander. And of course, the Mets against lefties is a concern going into the postseason.
Well, this is a blessing. You see right there, their ranking in the National League. Not good. Not good, period. But this might be a blessing in disguise that they get some at bats off the left-hander going in.
Although I will say that in the first half, when David Wright was lighting it up, they were 10 games over 500 against left-handers. In the second half, he kind of went in the tank against left-handed pitching, and so did they. So he's hot again.
And the other thing is, as Sean Green swings at the breaking ball, is that with the Phillies now eliminated, there really isn't a team out there, at least in the National League, that's going to throw up a significant amount of left-handed pitching against the Mets.
The only person really that might do it is the Dodgers in the 4th game might use Quo.
Or the Padres with David Wells.
That's right.
That's about it.
You've got to look to the bullpens, too.
Wells threw 6 nice innings last night.
Yes, he did.
I'm trying to think. Neither one of those teams, the Padres or the Dodgers, have a lefty out of the bullpen that's going to scare you.
No.
Sean Green doubled over the first baseman's head earlier in this inning. And he lines that one shallow left. It'll fall for a hit. Loduca held at third, and the bases are loaded. 9 hits in the inning. And Green has a pair.
No, folks, this is not batting practice. This is the game.
It isn't?
Jeez. It only looks like it on TV.
I think the Mets should say their I'm sorry's to Frank Robinson here on his day.
There's no mercy once the game starts.
He knows that, too.
He already got his handshakes and his hugs.
Well, we were talking about Cliff Floyd hitting leadoff and hopefully getting 5 at bats. Well, I guarantee if he plays this entire game, he might get 6 at bats.
He might get 5 by the 4th.
The 9 hits in an inning is the most for the Mets this year. Of course, they've scored as many as 11 runs in an inning. That was a club record they set in Chicago earlier this season.
How about a salami?
Franco takes a curveball for a strike.
You are wicked. You've no mercy.
Well, Franco had not hit a home run since his shot in April in San Diego until last night, when he hit a bomb over the center field fence, a 3-run shot, extending his record of being the oldest player ever to hit a home run. And he takes a fastball for a strike. 0-2. Fastball, in theory, 81 miles an hour. Franco singled up the middle to drive in the first run of this 6-run inning. He's the 12th man to bat. And he strikes out on the curveball. All Schneider has to do is step on home plate, which he does, and Traber finally puts a close to the inning. Mets with a season-high 9 hits in the inning, and they score 6 runs. Sportsnet New York is ready to launch its exclusive Mets playoff coverage, kicking off with the premiere of Mets Postseason Live from the SNY Studio Plaza. Mets Postseason Live premieres tomorrow at 7, only on Sportsnet New York. You ready, Ron?
I'm ready, buddy. I'm telling you, I've got tidbits galore.
You do?
Yes, I'm ready.
I'll bring the cheese bits, and you bring the tidbits. Ryan Zimmerman leads off and takes a strike from Oliver Perez. Zimmerman with 110 runs batted in. To his buddy David Wright. High throw and nice footwork by Franco. 1 away. So Zimmerman retired. Check out our subway around the majors. The playoff regimen almost set. 7 of the 8 teams decided, but certainly not all of the matchups decided. The Cardinals need a win or an Astros loss to clinch the NL Central for the final spot. But the NL West and the AL Central are up in the air, both tied going into the final day. But in both cases, both teams will be heading to the postseason. Dodgers, Padres, Tigers, Twins.
You know, you're talking about the Dodgers not starting Derek Lowe to save him for the playoffs. The Cardinals had to pitch Chris Carpenter today, which is not great form for them because he is their best pitcher.
Well, of course, not only do they have to pitch Carpenter today, but if they lose and the Astros win, they have to play tomorrow against the Giants, who will be just thrilled to go back to St. Louis, I'm sure.
Oh, a nice 4-hour flight.
And then if they lose that, then they'd have to play a one-game playoff in Houston on Tuesday. So they could burn through their whole staff before they even start the postseason if they get there. So it would behoove Carpenter to get them a win today and give them a chance to at least set their rotation heading into a playoff opener on Tuesday. There's a strike to Vidro at 2-2.
Did you see in Fenway Park yesterday? They announced the crowd of sold out, of course, 39,000. They said, look, it looked like there were 15,000 no-shows in Fenway Park.
And then to rub salt in the wound, Kevin Millar got the winning hit in the 9th inning.
A home run, right? Was it a home run?
2-run single, I think.
But he got a home run.
Yes,
Yeah,
earlier in the game.
yeah. Millar.
They loved him in Boston when he was one of the idiots. Vidro pops it up, and Valentine with the angle. 2 out.
Do you ever think Frank Robinson looks out of the mound and sees Oliver Perez with all the talent that he does have, and he's got his own pitching staff with a lot of guys with different kinds of talent, but certainly not someone who throws like Perez, and must go, how come we can't get a guy like this? This is a guy the Mets don't even use, they don't even need, and we can't get a guy like that.
Well, the Mets may need him next year.
Yeah.
You know, you look at the composition of the Mets staff in 2007, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity for the young pitchers, the Pelfreys, the Umbers, the Perezes, the Bannisters, to make their mark.
Well, winter ball becomes very important when you're a young player and you're trying to make an impression.
0-2 to Brian Schneider.
They send you. They don't send the non-prospects to winter ball or instructional league. They send you there because they're high on you and they like it. They like you. So it's important for Perez to go down and have a good winter ball, and Bannister and Traver.
And he strikes out Schneider on 3 pitches. Impressively done. Second strikeout for Perez, and he's retired the first 6 in a row. We played 2 innings on the final day of the regular season. 6-0 New York. I'm going to miss that duck when the season's over. Our final Aflac trivia question of the season. The last National League team to win the World Series after posting a losing record after September 1st. Significant because the Mets are 14-15 since September 1st. Although it doesn't look like they'll have a losing record based on the way this game has started. Jose Valentin had one of the 9 hits for the Mets in the 2nd inning. Drove in a run. And he fouls off Billy Traber's first pitch.
They've been very challenging questions, the Aflac questions this year. They haven't lowered the bar like everywhere else. They've raised the bar.
You're saying we haven't dumbed down the Aflac trivia question?
No.
That's good. Valentin to shallow center. Church started back, racing in, can't get there. Oh boy, is he having a rough afternoon. So Valentin is 2 for 2.
Well, nothing's going right for the Nationals. Watch the center fielder top of your screen. Watch the break off the ball off the bat. He went back, and that was the difference right there.
Well, it's certainly one of the priorities for the Nationals, and it really has been all of this season, to find a center fielder. They've gone through a dozen guys, it seems, this year. Remember, they had Brandon Watson playing there early in the season.
They had one last year. They just traded him. He's playing for the Mets.
It's true, but they gave up on Endy Chavez, and Endy has been marvelous as a Met. Anderson Hernandez grounds one to short. Lopez to Castro, and on to first. Double play. 6-4-3. 2 out and nobody on.
Well, they had Brad Wilkerson last year over to Texas.
They had Alex Escobar earlier this year, but Escobar, the former Mets prospect, got hurt again.
Taylor made. that's not the golf club.
Well, here's Oliver Perez. Now, the plan was today for Perez to pitch 3, maybe 4 innings, as he almost hurt himself with that swing.
And just about killed the catcher with it, too, with the end result.
You wonder if Perez, though, continues the way he's been pitching, will there be a temptation to push him a little further?
I would. I'd like to see how he pitches through 5, but it all depends. The Mets need work in the bullpen. Everyone needs an inning, so too bad. He probably has 1 more inning and done.
That is the #1 priority, the bullpen.
So this is basically a spring training game.
Yes. Oliver Perez, watching him hit. I remember when Frank Viola was traded over to the Mets, we asked Frank if he had been DH'd for in Little League. I mean, that's how bad he was when he came over.
He was. I would say it's between Viola and Al Leiter, the worst hitting pitcher I've ever seen.
I didn't get to see Al very much. He was bad, huh?
He was not bad. He was awful.
Al was a bad bunter, too.
Couldn't bunt.
Couldn't bunt. And he couldn't field his position. And he got on the Gold Glovers over there at Yes this year. I love Al, but he criticized the Gold Glove as a popularity contest. Al could not field neither.
Was he claiming that he should have won one?
No. Al would cut up an infield, let me tell you.
Well, he hurt himself covering first base. He hurt his knee.
He's a nervous personality, right? So it's hard to be a hitter in that fidgety.
You know what worked for Al, though? He would like show
Yes.
bunt and then pull the bat back. That was like a timing mechanism for him. He actually got a couple of hits that way. Not enough to raise his batting average over 100, but
he was paid to hit. I mean, to pitch. He was an intense competitor on that mound. We know
he was
that.
a wonderful pitcher.
Yeah, great pitcher.
Yes, he was.
Big game pitcher, too.
Absolutely.
Ooh, Perez.
That's old-fashioned.
Flipped.
Old-fashioned chin music.
They'll go to first base with a walk. That's a tough ball for them.
Okay, you want to foul all these pitches off? Take that.
The catcher got the glove on it. The umpire got hit by the ball, and Perez wound up on his back.
I'll tell you, that's an easy way to get hit. I got hit in the head on a 3-2 pitch from some pitcher from Atlanta. I can't remember his name, Marty something. But he was his rookie year.
So that's what's wrong with you.
Yes, exactly. And I haven't recovered since then. 3-2 right in the coconut.
Was I on the team?
Yes,
I don't
you were
remember.
there.
I do not remember.
You didn't come out. You didn't care. You were lying on the ground.
I don't remember. Marty.
In between innings, you know where you were, down those little steps to the right.
I was smoking a heater down there. Back in those days. Probably.
Thank God you got over that.
Very proud of you that you quit. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
I appreciate that. 11 years now.
2-0 to Floyd. Cliff hit a laser beam over Church's head in center field for a double his last time up. Certainly not running very well, but the trade-off is you get Cliff's bat in the lineup, and he pulls that one over the bag foul. 2-1.
What you've got to worry about too, though, is defense. This is not the American League, obviously, where Cliff could DH. Will he be? How much of a liability will he be in left field if he can't move?
Well, it means that Beltran's going to have to cover that much more ground if Cliff's playing out there rather than Chavez. And Beltran, by his own admission, is not quite 100%.
Although it was a good sign yesterday, he stole the base.
I always thought as a pitcher, if my outfield is hurting, just play deep. Make sure you keep the ball in front of you. Give me an extra chance to get a double play or an out.
There's ball 4, and so back-to-back walks issued by Billy Traber, and the Mets have 2 men on. Well, the other thing is you got to have some faith in Reyes' ability to go back on pop-ups. If you're going to play deep, your shortstop has to have some range.
You know, that happened at Chase Stadium last week. It was one of the games that Cliff was in there, and he wasn't able to make a play. And Jose Reyes could have made the play, but he gave up on it. And then the next time it went out there, Jose went all the way out and made that play. So he's got to know that. You're right, Gary.
Reyes getting the day off today, driving everybody crazy in the dugout.
Tattoo. Everyone's got tattoos.
I know. I'm glad I don't.
I was so envious today. I was in the clubhouse and Reyes had a big jelly donut in his hand. 23 years old, he can eat all the jelly donuts he wants. Here's what Reyes has done this year. It has been a phenomenal improvement.
That pretty much says it all right there.
I was hoping he'd get to 20 home runs.
That would have been quite a. Gary, I see you on that treadmill.
Yeah.
You can. Well, you run that treadmill. You can have a jelly donut.
The problem
on
isn't
occasion.
the problem isn't the output; it's the input. Randy St. Clair wearing out a path to the mound. Hey, the Jets went in front of the Colts, 14-7, second quarter.
Wow. Keith said, didn't you say that, Keith, before the season, that the Jets are going to be the surprise team?
Yes, and the Jets are always a wonderful underdog.
Oh, I get it.
They're a wonderful dog.
And they're home.
Although the only team that plays in New York is the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, that's a technicality.
It is.
That's not New York. That's Buffalo. It's not even Buffalo. It's Orchard Park. The Duca thrown out by Lopez. We go to the bottom of the third, and the Mets cruising. Well, today, the final day of the managerial career of the legendary Frank Robinson, and for the game today, Frank was honored here, and not only by the Washington fans and players, but by the Mets. And just gives you an idea just with what esteem Frank Robinson is held.
It's just so interesting as you see Robert Fick is going to be the first hitter. I saw Fick in the clubhouse before the game. You see all the numbers. Boy, those are some heady numbers by Frank Robinson.
Remember, after the 1965 season, the Reds traded him to the Orioles for Milt Pappas because the Reds said he was an old 30, and all he did the next year was go out and win the Triple Crown in the American League.
They didn't know the 30 then was the new 25.
Exactly.
I think they were making excuses trying to make excuses to the fan base why they traded him.
Well, he ended up playing 10 more years,
Yes.
and eventually took over as manager of the Indians as a player manager. And during that video tribute they did to him, those wonderful Indians red uniforms.
They ugly.
And that was opening day. As manager and player, he hit a home run on opening day.
Robert Fick fouls it away, 1-1.
Well, my good friend Dennis Eckersley, who made the team that rookie campaign for Frank Robinson, said what a manager he was for him because he took a chance on him. He never would have made the big leagues if any other guy was managing that team.
Did he like Frank?
He said he loved Frank, so it was fantastic.
I have a hunch that Frank likes gamers, and all you got to do is come play hard for him on a day in, day out basis, and you're fine with him.
Well, it's kind of a generational thing. I mean, every coach I grew up with, Keith, I don't know if you're the same, was tough and yelled and screamed and did things that coaches and managers don't do now.
You can't do that today. No. It might upset people. You don't want to upset them.
Two and two to Fick, and he fouls it back.
I had the same thing. My first manager in A-ball was Roy Matika in the Florida State League, and I was 18 years old, out of high school, and he was a screamer. I had not a screamer.
And how did you respond to that?
My dad was a screamer, so it was perfect. Like I never left the house.
And Fick lifts one to shallow right. Green in, and he'll play it on a hop. Not very well played by Green, and Fick, the first base runner for the Nationals.
Well, this is something that the Mets now, their defense in the outfield has suffered. Green does not run as well. We've talked about it in the past. And now if you're going to play Floyd in left, it's a lot of responsibility on Beltran.
And you wonder, would that affect Willie's decision as to whether to play Chavez? Is the defense in the outfield enough of a concern to make him consider that? Lifted foul by Ryan Church into the crowd.
I don't think it's going to be enough for concern because I think Green and Floyd are, unless something happens to Floyd after this game, are going to start that first game. That being said, if the Mets get a lead, one of those guys is out. Chavez will be in there in a heartbeat, probably for Cliff Floyd.
There'll be some defensive replacement, that's for sure.
Church fouls one off Leduca, and it's 0-2.
Keith, my first manager in Double-A in Tulsa, I know you played in Tulsa also, right?
Yes.
Was Tommy Burgess. And
You're kidding, you played for Big Tom?
Big Tom, and we had a meeting every day. Every day after batting practice, we had a meeting, and he would pick someone, and he would scream at him the entire meeting, and then, okay, guys, let's go get him.
Left-handed Tom Burgess.
Yeah, left-handed Tom Burgess.
He was my Double-A manager in Little Rock, Arkansas.
And how did you respond to that?
I honestly, he left me alone. I was #1 pick, bonus baby. You had to leave me alone. That's how it was in those days. But I will say, he was great, and those 14 or 15-hour bus trips, he taught me how to play hearts.
That's important.
Well, you know, when I got to the team in July, all the beds, because the bus used to be converted into beds at night, were all taken, of course. So I was a new guy, no bed for me. So I had to stay up for those 14 hours. He taught me hearts, and he also taught me a lot about the game, and I heard a lot about the minor league baseball stories, which are always fun to listen to.
Broken bat, grounder through the hole. A base hit for Church, and Fick will go to third. And the Nationals have runners at the corners with nobody out. Let's go to Chris Connor. Chris?
Well, guys, while the Nats are threatening here in the third inning, just, you know, when I'm on the road, you know, I love to not only visit with players, but visit with you guys. I had something on Oliver Perez here. I took a cab to the stadium with Perez the other day, and he told me he's from northern Mexico, and the folks from northern Mexico tend to be taller than the people from southern Mexico. And he said, so they play baseball and basketball in northern Mexico a lot more than in the South. In the South, they play soccer, and they're into distance running. I asked him what other sports he liked, and he said, well, I'll follow a little track and field, but it's mostly just baseball and a little basketball. No football, no auto racing, nothing like that. But I thought it was interesting about the folks from northern Mexico as opposed to the folks from southern Mexico. Just giving you guys a little geography.
Can I ask you a question? What are you doing in here?
Well, it's a beautiful day out.
Get out of the sun.
This is what, 10 games, 9 games here in D.C. I've seen every inch of RFK Stadium. Believe me, there aren't that many interesting things to do here. So I thought I would come in and say hello to you guys. 150 games we've done all year, and I haven't been in the booth once. Why not just come in and see how the other half lives? Look at this scorecard, by the way, Keith. This is gorgeous. Green and pink and yellow and blue.
It's the last game too. It's not my
beautiful
real
work. Let me see what we've got here. Look at this, folks.
There's a
Look at
lot
the scorecard. All the colors on
pink.
there. You're an artiste.
That is my Disraeli Gears album.
Well, you guys get back to the game. I'll just study how you guys work, all right?
Billy Traver strikes out. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for stopping on by.
Good seeing you,
it's
folks.
always nice to have visitors.
You need anything? Iced coffee? Anything? Keith, can I get you anything while I'm up?
Could you bring a pizza?
I'll see. Let me go work on that. There's no
Thanks.
Coscarinos here at RFK, but I'll see what I can do.
Do me a favor, hold up those other presidents. We need Teddy to win.
Teddy's got to win,
Teddy's
right?
got to win.
I would think today he's got to win.
Maybe
somehow,
you could
some way.
trip the other guys up. I bet the fix is in, right? The fix is in for Teddy.
It has to be. It has to be.
0 for 35. He's got to get it done on Frank Robinson's.
It would be un-American if Teddy didn't win one.
Bernie Castro with his home run cut, and it's 0-1.
You know, that being said, though, we have to thank Chris. What a job he did. Brought into this game late this year and brought in with all of us, and he mixed in great. We had a blast all summer, and he made our job in this booth a lot easier with all his great reports down on the field.
I think Chris deserves extraordinary plaudits for the job that he did this year.
Can I ask the question? I was so distracted by
Traver struck
Chris.
out.
He let Traver hit? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was so distracted.
I knew you were going to ask, so I made a note of it. 0-2 to Castro. And Perez got him looking. 4th strikeout for Oliver Perez. And there are 2 out.
Well, I'll tell you, Oliver Perez can be so impressive at times. The way he pitches and he gets strikeouts in key situations. There's so much talent there. Let's hope that the Rick Peterson and his staff and And when Oliver Perez goes home this winter, he works on the things he needs to work on to try to get in that rotation.
Well, Rick Peterson says he has five drills for his pitchers. He says the key to success. So I asked him, I said, if Perez goes to winter ball and you're not going to be around him, are you worried that he may go back to his old bad habits? You're not there to correct him.
Lopez gets nicked and the bases are loaded.
And Rick basically said, I have five basic drills for the pitchers. He didn't tell me what they were. If he does those 5 drills, he'll be fine. I said, okay.
And will they have somebody keeping an eye on him?
Oh, I'm sure they will, obviously. Those winter leagues are well scouted.
Well, here's Soriano with the bases loaded. Lined out to David Wright his first time up. Soriano with 46 homers, 95 RBIs. And a chance here to do some damage with 2 out. And takes the breaking ball for a strike. Soriano now in an 0 for 18 hole. You don't want to finish the year that way.
Well, he hasn't hit well out of that 3-hole all summer. Hit a lot better from leadoff position.
And he hit leadoff most of the year. But Frank dropped into the number 3 spot, hoping to get him to 100 RBIs. But he stopped hitting. Fick is at third, Church at second, and Lopez at first with 2 down. That's with a 6-0 lead in the third.
On top of the plate, crouching, waving that bat.
Now tips the fastball 1-2.
That wiggle of the bat really brings the bat forward over his head. The barrel of his bat.
He is so far forward in the box, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Hey, look at a lot of hitters there are so widespread in their feet.
Fouls off the slider.
See LaDuca call for that in the dirt, and Perez wasn't able to execute that. Let's see if he calls for it again. One of the sliders. See, he wants it down in the dirt. Boy, that was middle. Lucky to get away with that.
You can strike Soriano out 160 times this year, he's fanned. But he lines this one foul.
This is where, if he can in winter ball, Oliver Perez, if he could develop some kind of split finger changeup, boy, would that be effective. Pounding in with fastballs and sliders and fastballs and sliders, and then away with something turning over, unhittable.
The split finger has saved so many average pitchers and just lengthened their careers and made them tough pitchers. It's such a great pitch. Whoa.
Missed badly with the fastball, and it's 2-2.
That spun LaDuca around, and his mask came off. What's this?
We have seen LaDuca in all sorts of fashions save wild pitches this year. Mets have thrown the fewest wild pitches of any staff. Little flare to short. And Hernandez got it, and that ends the inning. So Perez handles Soriano with the bases loaded. Still 6-0 Mets. The adventures of a young Superman are back. Smallville returns to the CW11 for an all-new season of high-flying action. Don't miss Smallville, Thursday nights on the CW11.
You read that with such passion.
Every time I read that, I'm thinking about George Reeves, and I'm thinking about da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Truth, justice, and the American way.
Faster than a speeding bullet.
Well, George Lombard is coming on the field, and Frank Robinson did this so that Alfonso Soriano can get one more ovation coming off the field for the final time this year. And who knows, maybe for the final time as a National.
Classy move by Frank Robinson.
It's been an extraordinary season for Soriano, going all the way back to spring training and his one-day balking at moving to left field. But once he bought into the move, Everything went right for him this year. As Beltran lines one to center field, and Church is equal to this one. One away.
Look at that face on Ryan Church.
It's like, why? Leave me alone.
Finally got one.
There's two other outfielders out. Why me? It's my last day of the season. Got 1 foot on the bus.
He staggered for a moment, but he caught it.
Is it that hard to catch fly balls?
Maybe on the last day it is.
Here's David Wright, who had 2 hits in that 6-run second inning. Well, David finishing off another tremendous year. Last year, 306, 27 homers, 102 RBIs. This year, with his 2 hits today, is at 312, 26 homers, 116 RBIs. In the history of New York baseball, only 2 players have produced 325 homers, 100 RBIs twice before celebrating their 24th birthday, before David Wright. Those 2 players, Mel Ott and Joe DiMaggio.
Nice company.
Gee.
So that's the kind of company David is keeping with his first 2 full seasons in New York.
And number 5, right?
That's DiMaggio's. Big hop for Zimmerman, and he throws out his buddy, 2 away. So 2 out and nobody on. What are we going to do for a Jeep upcoming schedule? Oh. Our friends at ESPN will have the game Wednesday. Is that official now? 4 o'clock?
Yes, it is official. 4 o'clock.
And then Thursday night on Fox at 8 o'clock.
The Mets are going to take an off day tomorrow, and then Tuesday they work out at 1 p.m.
4 o'clock start's kind of nice. Some shadows on the field at 4 o'clock.
Great memory of a 4 o'clock postseason start at Shea Stadium. And Sean Green pulls one foul. 1999, Game 5 against the Braves. 15 innings in the rain for nearly 6 hours. That was a 4 o'clock start. Robin Ventura finished it with the grand slam single. I had my son Trevor with me in the booth that day. 4 o'clock start, so you know you don't eat dinner before the game. At the end of the game, he was 8 years old at the time. He started crying. He was so excited, but he was so hungry and tired. He just it all let loose.
Overwhelmed him.
Exactly. To left center field, and George Lombard is there, and Green is retired to end the inning. 1-2-3 inning for Billy Traber. We go to the bottom of the 4th, 6-0 New York. A very emotional moment here in our nation's capital. They ran the final president's race of the year, and Teddy Roosevelt, no wins on the year. And they're getting ready for the start of the race, and there's Teddy all by himself ahead of the field. Lincoln rooting him on. Teddy accepting the plaudits, finally heading for his first victory of the presidential race season. Reaches the finish line, only to be told he's been disqualified because of a false start. And you should have seen Teddy afterward. Look at him. Bully.
Unconsolable.
Bully. Poor Teddy. It's been a rough year for him. Ryan Zimmerman lines one, and Anderson Hernandez with a snow cone. 1 away.
Well, we know Anderson has a nice glove. Watch his reaction. Yeah, nice place. Oh, he got the heel and he scooped it into the pocket. Wasn't a clean catch.
Not even a clean snow cone.
However, that is an F6 on your scorecard.
Chris Woodward now playing third base. David Wright is done.
You just put 6 for your fly balls. So do you, Gary, right?
I put L6 because it was a line drive.
That's a very good point.
But it's kind of a humpback liner.
Soft line.
This is game 162. Game 145, I put L6.
So it's shorthand.
Yes.
It's a shorthand kind of a day.
Soft line.
SL. Jose Vidro fouls it away.
It's a nice crowd. Did we notice that?
Great closing day crowd.
Really?
Beautiful day.
closing day is always a bittersweet day in baseball, especially for a team that's not going to the postseason. You know, often the games are speeded up a little bit, whether by the players or by the umpires. That's not been the case today.
Well, the Mets are raking. What can you do?
Taking a nice leisurely pace to things. But they've drawn well here in Washington this year, as they did last year in their inaugural season. And Vidro lines a base hit. Floyd over to play it and holds Vidro to a single. The third hit off Oliver Perez. So 1 out and 1 on. Hey, Sportsnet New York is ready to launch its exclusive Mets postseason coverage, kicking off with the premiere of Mets Postseason Live from the SNY Studio Plaza. Mets Postseason Live premieres tomorrow at 7, only on Sportsnet New York. And Ronnie and I will be there along with our special guest, David Wright.
Are you going to wear that paisley tie of yours?
Would you like me to?
Yes,
I can arrange
tie
for that.
You have taken it up a notch for those ties, by the way. In
Absolutely.
The second half, hadn't he?
Yes.
Well,
they pop.
They're popping on camera.
Before it was like you were camouflaged.
well, you have to understand that before this season began, I owned like one tie. So it took me a while to stockpile.
What was your outfit on radio? What did you wear? Jeans or like khakis? Or?
Jeans, sneakers, T-shirt.
Now, of course, you took advantage of Canali, I hope, right? Those are all Canali ties.
Of course.
You went into
every single one.
You know the selection of ties in that
Our buddy George
showroom
took care of us.
Unbelievable. Wonderful ties. Wonderful casual wear.
Canali makes great stuff.
Yes.
Schneider pops one foul. Well, there's Howie and Tom.
Howie looks happy.
You see what's behind them. You see all the presidents. Check out the one on the right. Do you know who that is?
El Presidente.
Dennis Martinez. Isn't that great?
It is great.
Somebody's got to move Tom out from behind the pole.
That's right.
I hate these poles. Schneider to left center. A long run for Floyd. Can he get there? Beltran with the catch, and they avoid the collision. Oh, my. And is Cliff okay? He took a little spill trying to avoid running into Beltran. Unbuttoned his shirt in the process.
Well, this is the big ballpark, and this is something that's going to be of concern in postseason. Cliff was busting here now.
Oh, I'll tell you what, he did a great job to avoid slamming into Beltran.
There's Beltran calling for it late. Wow. Oh, there was some contact.
I think he kicked him.
Yep.
His shirt just came completely undone with that sliding maneuver. Pulling Steve Lyons. Do we have to show this?
Different camera. Come on, Webby. You're a voyeur.
What's your Webby, a voyeur?
Here's Robert Fick. And he pops one foul. Well, we have had some memorable moments this season, and there's yet another one.
And for those of you who don't know, Bill Webb, our award-winning director downstairs.
1-1 to Fick.
Webby has the first game of the Yankee playoffs, and then he goes over to the first game for the Mets, I believe.
He'll be doing game 2 for the Mets.
2 for the Mets.
On Fox. 2-1 to Fick. Fox and ESPN share the postseason. I think we've got ESPN on Wednesday and Fox on Thursday.
They should, for what they pay for it. Absolutely.
And Fick pops one up. Shallow left center. Beltran and Floyd, and it lands. And that's not all that shocking, considering what just happened a moment ago. So a fly ball single for Fick. Vidro goes to third.
This is a big concern right here.
Well, after almost colliding the play before, and with postseason looming on Wednesday, Can you blame them?
I think you're going to see a much more aggressive Carlos Beltran.
He's got to take charge of everything.
He's going to have to.
Here's Church with first and third, and 2 out. And Perez throws the fastball by him. Well, Jerry Manuel is the Mets outfield coach, and you have the feeling that Manuel's going to sit these 3 guys down before the postseason and talk about this. About the fact that Beltran has got to be the guy out there on any ball in question. Line to left, that's going to fall in front of Floyd. Vidro comes in with the first Washington run, an RBI single for Ryan Church to make it 6-1.
Fastball away, good pitch, good hitting. Obviously, he was diving out there. Perez is the kind of guy, Ron, correct me if I'm wrong, with his stuff, the way he throws so hard, he throws hard. If he just put one every once in a while on a left-hand hitter, not under the chin, but just move them off the plate, then, then he can go away.
Yeah, and if he did throw that pitch, he'd get away with it. He'd have more of a foul ball or a swing and a miss. He doesn't have that kind of control now. Now, I think the other thing that he needs to work on is controlling an inning, because I think what happens to Oliver is that sometimes he gets in the middle of an inning and he can't control it. The next thing you know, 3 runs are in. Instead of saying, you know what, there's a run there. Let's just concentrate. I got 2 outs. Let's just get the pinch hitter coming up, and then I'm out of the inning. No big deal. Don't get too excited.
Melvin Dorda. I guess they had to find him. Took them a while to get Dorda up to the plate. With Saul Rivera getting ready in the Washington bullpen. You see what Dorda has done since being called up. 3 hits in the inning off Perez, and a run is in, and Dorda fouls it back.
That would irritate me as a manager, wouldn't it, Keith? If you're looking for a guy to pinch hit and you can't find him.
Ooh. Especially if you're a late call-up.
Yeah, and you're a bench player.
You better have a bat in your hand
at all times.
On the final day of the season, if a guy's out of the game, is he allowed to go home?
No.
No one ever does that.
You shouldn't.
Unless there's Sammy Sosa.
You shouldn't. If you have, I don't know.
Don't you want to be there when it's over with your teammates? You've been through the whole, whether you finish in 5th place or 1st place, you want to be there with the guys that you've gone the whole year with.
Yeah, you
7 months.
You want to shake hands. You want to have a can of beer, talk about today, and just exchange numbers. All those things that guys do at the last day.
I'll tell you what, my last year in '90 in Cleveland, I wanted to leave early the last day. Let me tell you.
Not a good year.
I had my car packed. As soon as that game was over, I showered. I was in that car. I was driving back to New York.
Soriano's season done after being lifted for defense. And getting one final ovation. 3-2 now to Dorda.
Who was on that team in Cleveland in '90? Was Corey Baerga there?
Corey Snyder, Jacoby.
Rick Jacoby I played with later.
The young kids Carlos was there. Baerga. Sandy Alomar Jr. Candiotti was still there. Bud Black was our pitcher. Do we have to go into detail?
No. I was just wanting a few guys.
They were all great guys.
You didn't have to name the
Dorda
whole
walks
roster.
and the bases are loaded. Albert Bell wasn't there yet, was he?
Who?
Albert Bell?
Yes, he was. I got along great with Albert. I liked Albert.
Rick Peterson heading out for a chat with Perez. This was probably going to be Perez's last inning anyway, because the Mets want to get the bullpen a lot of work today. With a couple of days off before that first postseason game.
Well, he should be out of this inning. I mean, it was a pop-up that was, I don't want to say misplayed, it just wasn't played.
So here's Castro, who's 0 for 2. 0 for 10 in this series. Nationals have gotten a good look at Castro this last couple of weeks of the season to see whether he might be able to fill a need at second base. And it's hard to say that they've seen what they wanted to. One to Castro. And now Perez ahead of him.
You know, just as recently as a start ago, we saw Oliver Perez work a really quick motion to the plate. Now he's taking a pause. If you watch at home, he'll take a pause after he steps back. He'll pause and then proceed to the plate. Interesting.
Just missed 2-2.
It's almost a lot of the Asian pitchers tend to pitch like that.
So do you think that that's just a matter of Peterson working with them, trying to find something that works for him?
Yeah, they're trying to fine tune him and slow him down because he is the Warren Zevon excitable boy.
Hernandez up in the bullpen. Perez goes 3-2 on Castro. And so the merry-go-round will be in motion here with 3-2 and 2 down. Fick at third, Church at second, Dorta at first will all be on the move. And Dorta lines one, caught by a diving Sean Green. So Green, who let one drop in front of him earlier, lays out for that one and saves a couple of runs. Through 4, 6-1 Mets. Well, how about we answer our Aflac trivia question? Last one of the year. Last National League team to win the World Series after posting a losing record after September 1st. Those pesky Florida Marlins from 1997. Wild card team that won it all. Kind of set the trend, right, for the wild card team winning it all.
They did, as they were outstanding. Sheffield and Conine and that group.
Moises Alou.
Crime Dog on that team? Fred McGriff?
No.
No, he could have been, no.
Darren Dalton, Bobby Bonilla, Renteria.
Al Leiter,
Kevin Brown.
Alex Fernandez.
Rob Dan, Alex Fernandez. It was a great team.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Zimmerman.
Zimmerman comes off the field for the final time this season. So the Nationals doing a nice job taking their players off one by one. Stars, Soriano and Zimmerman.
What a season Zimmerman had.
110 runs batted in, and you'd have to think that his late season run solidified him as the favorite to win National League Rookie of the Year honors. Julio Franco lines one to right, and Fick is in to grab it. One away. There's Melvin Dorta, who pinch hit and stayed in at third base for Zimmerman, with Saul Rivera taking over the pitching. Here's Valentin, 2 for 2 today. That's put together 9 hits to score 6 runs in the second inning. Toward the hole, and Valentin is 3 for 3. So Valentin, who had been struggling a bit coming down the stretch of the season, had a base hit yesterday, 3 more today. It's a nice way to head into the postseason.
Well, I'll tell you, I have to really salute Jose Valentin. What a season he's had now. He'll be over 270, 18 home runs, 62 RBIs. For a guy that I think all of us, if we were honest, would say in spring training, we were watching him play in the beginning of the year, said, you know, it doesn't look like he has a lot of time left. Boy, were we wrong. Or was I wrong?
I think we were all wrong, and I think there were a lot of people even in the organization who were thinking, hey, you know, what have we got here? And were seriously considering giving Valentin his release a month and a half into the season. But remember that one series in Milwaukee where it all turned around for him. Got a chance to play and ran with it. Hernandez takes a strike, 1-1.
It's also, there was a void at second base in this ball club. Anderson Hernandez wasn't hitting, and he got hurt. And there was a hole there, and it was just perfect for him. He wouldn't have had an opportunity if he was just a shortstop. Jose Reyes, he would have no shot.
I think what's been amazing for those of us who haven't really seen Valentin play before is not just that he's hit, but the way he's played the game.
Because he's always hit. He's always been a guy that's going to hit some home runs, have some pop, but well-schooled, unbelievable defensive job at second base this year.
Chop toward first, and Vidro makes the play. That's the second out as Valentin goes to second. Well, get out your Mets gear and head to Sportsnet New York Plaza in Midtown for the Mets postseason rally Tuesday at noon. All fans will need to enter at 51st Street and 7th Avenue to gain access to the rally at 51st and 6th. Join Met fans, Mr. Met, and some surprise guests. Celebrate the year you've been waiting for. For more information, visit Mets.com.
You and Howie are going to be engulfed that day. It's going to be like a mosh pit. They're going to be holding you above their heads going down 6th Avenue.
Can only imagine. Ricky Leday will bat for Oliver Perez, who's done after 4 innings, which means he can't get a win, but he certainly showed some good signs in his final start of the year.
Well, I think with his performance today and he had an uneven time here with his starts, but that being said, he had a lot of great innings. He had one great start, and it's going to be all hands on deck in spring training. With the loss of Pedro to at least the All-Star break next year, I think you're going to see 10-12 starters in spring training who have a chance for the rotation.
2-0 to Leday. And chop to Castro, who throws him out to end the inning. So we're halfway through on the final day of the regular season, and the Mets with a 5-run lead.
I'm Matt Yaloff with your Chevrolet Baseball Day in New York update. The Astros need a win today in Atlanta, and a Cardinals loss to force St. Louis into playing a makeup game on Monday. But right now, Braves up 3-0 as they move to the top of the 7th.
You know, yesterday the Astros threw Andy Pettitte on 3 days rest instead of saving him for today. So they were left with the rookie Chris Sampson to make the start today, and now they find themselves in that early 3-0 hole.
Well, these games, as you see Roberto Hernandez coming in for the Mets to get his inning of work, these games at the end of the year are not for the meek of heart. I remember in '85 we had a series against St. Louis where I'll never forget it as long as I live, because Davey stuck by me and allowed me to start the first game. Dwight pitched as Dwight did that year, beat the Cardinals in the second game, and Rick Aguilera, I'll tell you, he poured his heart out.
As Lopez hits one to center and Beltran's got it, 1 out.
And in that third game, but it was an intense situation for such a young guy that Rick was at the time.
That was a game we should have won. We left so many men on base. Foster hit into a double play
First inning, bases loaded.
And the kid did not have a good game. He left men on base the whole series. And we just had every opportunity to beat them. And Terry Pendleton beat us with the line drive to left field. Aggie was throwing a good game at that point. That was the big telling blow. But Danny Cox just threw a really whale of a game against us.
George Lombard up for the first time against Roberto Hernandez. You were talking about mid-pitching, Ronnie, going forward to next year, and it's amazing when you think about what this team has accomplished and is heading into postseason. 96 wins, going on 97. The Mets don't have a single pitcher who, going into next spring training, is signed and healthy. Lavin's not signed for next year. Traxel's not signed for next year. Pedro is going to miss the first part of next year. El Duque's not signed for next year. You're talking about potentially a wide open staff going into this offseason.
If I were Philip Humber and Mike Pelfrey, I wouldn't take a day off this winter. I'd be running every single day, doing everything I could to be ready for spring training, because someone out of that mix of all those talented young guys, and maybe even 2, are going to have a chance to be in that rotation. There's John Maine.
He's about the only guy who's been a starter this year who probably has a spot in the rotation going into the spring.
Well, who's all going to winter ball? They've already made a statement in the press about who's going to winter ball, haven't they?
Well, there's a lot of different avenues. Guys go back home and play winter ball. There's the Arizona League that you go to.
That's true.
We got the Arizona and Hawaiian fall leagues.
How about that?
Oh.
That would be a fun league to play in.
I would opt for the Hawaiian League myself.
You think?
If they told me to go, Keith, you got to play winter ball, I'll go, where? Hawaii. I'll be there.
You do it right now.
Lombard fouls it back.
I think what happens over the course of a team like Washington that's in last place, I think the manager at some point over the last 2 weeks has a little informal or formal meeting with each of his players, just telling him what they expect, what you should work on, where they want you to go, whether that's winter ball or whatever, and how to make yourself a better player and be more ready for the next year.
Yeah, if you got young players, as the manager will go up and say, look, you got a chance to make this ball club next year, and you have a chance to start. So we want you to go, and whether it's go to winter ball or I want you to go home and work on this, but come to spring training ready to go, because you got a great opportunity next year.
And Lombard works out a walk. 1 out and 1 on. And the pitcher, Saul Rivera, is he going to bat? He's looking back at the dugout to find out. Yeah, he's coming up. Well, a lot of those conversations about winter ball take place between general managers and agents these days.
That's right. I was trying to line up a thing for Keith and I. We were going to make a joint announcement that we were going to leave SNY. And we're going to be the agent for Alfonso Soriano as he goes into this this off season, but he turned me down. So Keith, we're still here.
You think that 10% would cover things for you?
I think 10% of
retire in style.
75 million would be pretty good.
The runner goes and Rivera fouls it off. So Frank Robinson going out in style, hit and running with his pitcher up. Down by 5 runs.
Unconventional, that's what we say about Frank's managerial style. Absolutely. Look at Frank.
He's working on his 2-seamer.
Yep.
Maybe make a return as a relief pitcher.
Look at how big his hands are. You can't even see the ball.
Well, this is turning into a bullpen afternoon for the Mets. And that was certainly Willie's intention, to get all of his primary relievers an inning.
I was rode in a cab today to the ballpark with Chris Woodward, and I was just asking him, this is his first playoff experience, postseason experience. How does he feel about going into it? He says he's really excited. He said, but his family got a taste of it in the clincher, that his wife and child were trying to get to the ballpark and didn't get there until about the 3rd inning because they hadn't realized what it's like when Shea's a full house.
Well, it will be a full house every game going forward, starting on Wednesday. Runner goes, and Rivera hits it right at Beltran. Changing direction, Lombard. Beltran's throw, and he doubled him up. Beltran with a 1-hop throw to Franco. 13th outfield assist for Beltran. And that puts a close to the inning. 8-3 on the double play, as Lombard couldn't get back in time. Among the sights here in Washington, the famous Iwo Jima Memorial.
That was one of the few movies that John Wayne was in that he got killed in. I think John Wayne was killed in the last scene of that movie, The Sands of Iwo Jima.
You know, they're doing there was a book about the survivors who raised that flag, and they were doing a movie about those survivors, those young men that raised that flag that day.
Time for the Best of Barbados vacation getaway. If the Mets hit a home run, one grand prize winner will win an all-expense-paid trip to the Almond Beach Village Resort in Barbados. To enter or see if you're a contestant, visit sny.tv/Barbados today. 6th inning. Saul Rivera begins his 2nd inning of relief. Cliff Floyd, a double and a walk. He's driven in a run today. And he takes ball 1.
Do we know how many trips we gave away this year in the 6th inning?
No.
You're right. There's a few. Isn't it just one? Isn't there a drawing at the end? Or is it if there is a home run, they go? Well, that's some serious iron.
We're looking to Gary for intervention.
I think you're asking the wrong guy. I just read the card.
Oh, I'm reading the card right now.
Okay.
I want to find out.
Tell me what you can reveal from that.
If a Met hits a home run,
right,
one grand prize winner will win an all-expense paid
so there's
trip.
one trip. The grand prize.
Trip.
So
So at the end of the year, they have a drawing.
Presumably tomorrow.
Yes.
One and 2 to Floyd. You know, the trip would be more valuable if, you know, if you'd go along.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Wow. Why me?
You're a very popular guy. Looking to rent you out.
You've already said you do some of your best work down at the pool with a little toddy.
I mean, I know you love Barbados.
I scored big points when the Mets had that. Remember the first cruise? Did you go on that cruise?
I didn't.
I did. And I didn't score too many points in that trip. Well, they didn't say anything about playing a softball game. They said go on a cruise, and all of a sudden, oh, you got to play a softball game. I go, I'm not playing a softball game.
On a cruise ship?
Right. Well, no, one of the ports. Well, I didn't sign up to play a softball game.
Pedro Feliciano up in the Mets bullpen.
I signed up for a cruise.
So you figured you'd get just the free cruise, and you wouldn't have to do anything for it.
And Floyd foul tips it, strike 3. First strikeout for Rivera.
Beat by a fastball in.
So what you're saying is that your free vacation days are over.
Yes.
Okay. Check out our Hyundai in-game box score. Jose Valentin with a big day already, 3 for 3. A couple of RBIs for Anderson Hernandez as he hit his first big league triple. Mets put together 9 hits in the 2nd inning to score 6 runs. And here's Loduca, who had one of those 9 hits. And he takes a strike from Rivera.
You know, I'd never been on a cruise. What was the port of call on those cruises? Where did you start?
We started out of San Juan, and it was a great trip. We went all the way overnight to whatever that little island in the port in Venezuela. So we went all down south through the whole entire Caribbean. Wow. And then we went to Grenada, Martinique. We just hopped all the way back.
That sounds great.
Well, Castro looking ready for battle, so this may be Loduca's last at bat. One and 2 to Paul. Hitting at .319 right now, so base hit here could get him to .320 for the season. Wow, which would be quite an accomplishment.
He's added a lot of heart to this Mets lineup and this Mets team.
I agree.
Lefts it to right. And Fick to the line. 2 out. So 2 out and nobody on. Well, to get your Sportsnet New York on the web, make your homepage sny.tv, the online home of all things New York sports. It's also where you can submit your questions to Dodgers Ask the Booth. Dan wants to know, Keith, what are you going to do with your time in the off season, which begins in about an hour?
Well, I'm going to be down in Florida, and for the first week, Dan, I guarantee you I'll be doing absolutely nothing. I will just be relaxing in the warm weather.
You'll be watching us, right?
Watching. I have DirecTV. I'll be able to get SNY. Don't leave home without it. I guarantee. After a week, Dan, I'm going to quit I'm not going to have a drink until I lose 20 pounds.
Wow.
And that's probably going to take, I'd say, 8 weeks. And that's going to be very difficult, Dan, but I'm going to do it. I'm determined.
By the way, it's a nice shot of half your head behind that pole. Look at that.
Which way should I? Oh, this way. Oh, it's that camera. There we go.
1 and 2 to Beltran.
And you know who Dan is on the Upper West Side, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yes. And I believe he lives on the Upper West Side.
You know what I asked you to do is I asked you, because I want to come down in the winter, I want you to play some golf and work on your golf game. So I want to play some golf with you when we come down.
All right.
Play with the big orange. Play with the big orange all the way back.
Walk the course. That'll help you get the 20 pounds in.
Yeah.
Play with Rusty. It's
Beltran strikes out, and the inning is over. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Middle of the 6th, 6-1 New York. Final day of the season, a tribute to Frank Robinson, having a hopping good time. However, the Mets put together a 9-hit, 6-run second inning. Anderson Hernandez, the 2-run triple, and a nice catch. Cliff Floyd and Carlos Beltran barely avoiding a collision. Sean Green laying out. Our nation's capital on the final day of the regular season. Changes for the Mets. Ramon Castro comes in to catch. Lastings Milledge in left field. Andy Chavez in center, and Pedro Feliciano takes over on the mound.
Well, Feliciano's ERA has crept over the 2-run mark, but look at that fine record, 7-2. He's been one of their good luck charms when he comes in late in games, trying to get his work here for an inning for the Mets.
Jose Pedro takes the first pitch wide. Roberto Hernandez worked a hitless inning in relief after Oliver Perez went the first 4. Pedro is 1 for 2. There's a strike, 2-1. Feliciano is going to have a big role for this club in the postseason. Think about those Dodger and Padre lineups that the Mets might face in the first round as Pedro pokes a base hit to right.
Hey, wrestling fans, don't tell anybody, because people don't understand wrestling like us. Friday Night SmackDown can now be seen on all new CW 11. Catch all the action of your favorite WWE superstars on their new home. Friday Night SmackDown now on the CW 11.
Jose Pedro comes off the field for a pinch runner. And who knows? Could this be Pedro's final appearance for the Nationals? It's been such a linchpin of that franchise for a long time.
He has been, but I think it's time for him to move on. I think he needs to be in an American League team where he can play occasionally, but use that. I think he still has 30, 35 doubles in him as a pinch hitter. I don't know if he can hit enough bombs to justify his being used as a designated hitter, but emotional day for a lot of people here for the Nationals and the Mets.
Brian Schneider, the batter, and he takes a strike, 1-1. Brandon Harper running for Pedro at first. A lot of goodbyes on the last day of the season in any year. And the breaking ball foul tip. But looking at those San Diego and LA lineups, the left-handed bat in the Padre lineup is Adrian Gonzalez, who is very quietly had himself a tremendous year.
Tremendous year. Gonzalez for the Padres, J.D. Drew for the Dodgers.
Those are going to be Feliciano's assignments in that opening round. That's what the Dodgers have done offensively this year. Not a whole lot of home runs comparatively, but enough offense to be 4th in the league in runs scored. And Schneider strikes out on the breaking ball, and that's the first out. As for the Padres, we talked about Adrian Gonzalez, Mike Cameron and Mike Piazza, both integral parts of that San Diego attack, but they rely more on their pitching.
Yes. Well, we said in the pregame, and I know you guys agree, that the Mets are the class of the National League. If they play the way that they've played all season long, I think they will have no problem getting through to the World Series. But that's a lot of ifs. You got to still go out there and do it.
Dick hits one to center field. Andy Chavez right there, and there are 2 out. Well, there's still one spot to be decided in the National League, and interestingly enough, the Cardinals are opening the door. They trail Milwaukee 5-0 in the 4th inning.
And that's with Chris Carpenter on the hill? Wow.
As far as we know.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, though, the Astros trying to take advantage, having to fight uphill. They trail Atlanta 3-1 in the 7th. If Houston loses, then St. Louis clinches no matter what they do. But if the Cardinals lose and the Astros win, then the Cardinals have to take on the Giants tomorrow in a makeup game. Church swings and misses.
So the Mets are going to find out who they play, LA or San Diego, but probably about the time the team lands in LaGuardia.
If the Padres win, then the Mets play the Dodgers. But if the Padres lose and the Dodgers win, then the Mets would play the Padres. 0-2 to Church.
And if they both win, we play the Dodgers because the Padres win the overall series.
As long as the Padres win, the Mets play the Dodgers. Because those 2 teams are tied, and the Padres have the tiebreaker for the division title. I think they beat the Dodgers, what, 13 out of 18?
Yes.
Dominated them this year. And Feliciano with a very impressive inning strikes out Church with the breaking ball. So got the lefties out just the way he's supposed to. Feliciano with his tune-up for the postseason. We go to the 7th in D.C.
I'm Matt Yaloff with your Chevrolet Baseball Day in New York update. The Astros need a win to keep any hope alive of reaching the postseason, and Lance Berkman comes through, making it a 3-1 game. Houston still trails, and the Cardinals are losing to Milwaukee. Gary?
All right, thanks, Matt. And you see Brandon Harper takes over the catching. Ryan Schneider moves over to first base for the Nationals. It's a little different look for him.
Yeah.
Saul Rivera begins his 3rd inning of relief for Washington as we go to the 7th. And Chris Woodward will bat for the first time after taking over for David Wright at 3rd base. Well, we have had ourselves one heck of a time this year here in our first season on Sportsnet New York. I know that we all want to thank a lot of the people who have made our job a whole lot easier. We had a chance to do that during the last home game at Shea Stadium. A lot of the people around the ballpark there and on our crew who did a great job for us all year. But there are a number of people in the Mets organization who do so much work on a day-to-day basis, get very little publicity, and without whom we couldn't do our jobs. And I know that Keith and Ron join me in thanking everybody in the Mets media relations office, beginning with the Mets vice president for media relations, Jay Horowitz. And there's Jay.
Jay.
And he's doing what he always does. He's carrying a heavy burden. 2-1 to Woodward, but also Shannon Dalton, Ethan Wilson, Donald Muller. That entire media relations office works so incredibly hard every day to put out the information that we and the other media use, and they've been great friends to us over the years. Woodward hits one deep to left, and Lombard on the track has got it one away. Also, from the Mets broadcasting department, Lorraine Hamilton, who has done an incredible job as the liaison between SNY and the Mets. Lorraine, thanks as always for all of your work, and her assistant John Corres as well. They have done a phenomenal job this year of smoothing the transition to the new network. Sean Green takes a breaking ball for a strike. And I think also, you know, the players and the coaches and Willie Randolph and everybody connected with the ball club, they've gone out of their way for us this year in what has been a brand new venture, and helped make it the success that it has been this year. And we thank them all for their cooperation.
Well, listen, they've been mic'd in batting practice. The coaches have talked to us during the game. We've had starting pitchers after they're done pitching give Chris Cotter an interview in the bowels of the stadium. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that as far as player participation with the network. So, you know, I know that fans love that stuff, and I know that sometimes it can be a little tiring as a player over the 6 months of the season, but they've kept a smile on their face. Every time Chris has had to go to him for one more interview, they've given him one more interview, and a better man than I, Gunga Din. They've been amazing this year.
3-2 to Green.
Well, you know, Chris developed such a good relationship with the players, and he did such a fine job. The players like him very much. And it's a tough job that Chris had down there. And he's watched probably more baseball than he's ever cared to in the course of the season.
You could tell what kind of relationship he had with them on the clincher,
right,
because they really enjoyed having him in there and having him part of their champagne celebration as he got his dousing also.
And yet he never lost his professionalism for a moment, and he's to be congratulated. I know we mentioned it before, but Chris did an unbelievable job this year, and he was thrust into that role unexpectedly, and he ran with it and did a wonderful job. Nice play by Rivera on the comebacker, and he gets Green 2 away.
Do you remember the first time we met Chris down in spring training? He came and he looked like a deer caught in the headlights. Like, what is my job exactly? But he took the bull by the horns, and he hasn't stopped since.
Chad Bradford up in the bullpen as Julio Franco gets up to step in.
Most importantly, it has just been a fun season. This team has been great to cover. We've had our share, Gary, over the years of some lousy Met teams.
Was that right? I don't remember that.
Or the season was.
They say you only remember the good times.
But they're wrong. This team has been really a joy to cover and watch play every day.
And I think that first part is important to mention. They've been a joy to cover because it's a great group of people, in addition to being an awfully good baseball team. And the Mets went out of their way to bring quality people into this organization over the last few years, and you know, Omar is to be commended for that, and you know, it shows in your dealings with this team every day.
Can't forget Charlie Samuels, the clubhouse man for the Mets.
Clubhouse manager, traveling secretary, jack of all trades. Charlie works harder than anybody, and we couldn't ever get where we're going without him. 1-2-3 inning, 7th inning stretch time, 6-1 Mets.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Sterling Mats and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Sterling Mats.
New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Jeep, the all-new 7-passenger Jeep Commander. It's your world. Take command. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by the New York State Smokers Quit Line, call 1-866-NY-QUITS for free help and advice. Start your smoke-free life today. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning here in Washington, and Chad Bradford will get his inning of work.
It should be right on time now. You got Hernandez for an inning. Feliciano, Bradford now for an inning. Heilman to get one in Wagner. Perfect.
Darren Oliver pitched an inning last night, so the prime core of relievers will have gotten their work in. Frank Robinson, final few innings as a big league skipper, and he's getting gifts. What was that, a string ball somebody threw?
Thanks, but no thanks.
He has, I think he's really enjoyed himself today.
I haven't seen Frank smile so much
his whole life. Great ceremony before the game honoring Frank, who made a speech and received greetings from all the Met players and coaches.
You know, Frank said that he is not managing anymore, but he's not going to retire. And he implied, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but he implied that he's going to actively get involved in recruiting minorities for baseball. And I think that's fantastic.
Well, we all understand that, you know, African-American participation in baseball has diminished greatly from Frank's playing days. And it's something that I think is really vital in reintroducing African-American youngsters in this country to the game. And baseball has made some strides in that area with the RBI program as Melvin Dorta takes outside, but there's a lot more that needs to be done, and I'm sure Frank could have a great hand in that.
Which is often running in Los Angeles, but certainly have to do it in Northern California, where Frank came from. Joe Morgan, Veda Pinson, Willie Stargell.
Well, how about Florida? I mean, Florida's a place with great African-American athletes, all of whom seem to gravitate to football.
Yeah, well,
but it's a place that should be a great hotbed for baseball.
Football has become so big in Texas, Florida, Oklahoma.
The problem is that basketball and football are to practice the sport is much more fun. Baseball is a lot of tedium.
John Roush up in the bullpen.
And also, only because I have children that have gone through the ranks, baseball now is all organized. When I was a kid, you and I, Keith, you jump on your bicycle, put your glove on your handlebars, and go down and play. Kids don't do that now. The only time they ever play is at an organized practice or game.
Bobbled by Valentine, but enough time to throw out Dorta one away.
Well, they get those kids out there, the coaches. I know they mean well, but you can't have 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-olds out there doing drills for 45 minutes. You know, and you're out there for 3-4 hours. You're going to kill the kids' love for the game.
Well, what's fun is playing. And when we were kids, we just played.
My dad, when he was a coach, he'd do the instruction early in the ground balls, and then he would be inter-squad games. He'd throw, and he would instruct as the game went along. If someone made a mistake, or a base runner was a wrong throw, the wrong base, or the wrong cutoff, he would stop the game and instruct the kids and continue to play.
Yeah, that's great.
Bernie Castro, the batter, 1-1.
I know that this summer, my 13-year-old who plays in a traveling baseball team that plays 100+ games a year decided to take the summer off, and he and I, we just played pickup baseball all summer down in Battery Park City, and we had more fun this summer probably than he's had in a long time playing baseball.
Fouled away, 1-2. And isn't that what it's all about when you come right down to it? Fathers and sons playing.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry that, you know, how many hits did I get today? You know, what's my batting average? It's none of that. It was just pure fun. And like Keith said, as we were playing, we kind of work on stuff and instruct as you go, but you're still having fun just out there running in the grass.
It would always be a World Series with us. You know, Dad would be able to throw all day, literally, for instance. And one side would be, okay, the Cardinals, whoever won that year, the Cardinals, and then the Yankees. And whoever played first base was Moose Skowron, and center fielder was Mickey Mantle. You know, it was that sort of thing. It was great fun.
Who were you always?
Well, I was...
Who's your favorite?
Well, Mickey Mantle was my favorite, please.
They would do that today, except most kids can't stay up late enough to watch World Series games, so they probably don't even know who played in the World Series last year.
I know they don't know the scores.
Somebody's got to do something about that. And I know on the West Coast it's not an issue, but on this side of the country it is. Roll over by Hernandez, but that left him with no time to make the play on the speedy Castro. That's quite an effort.
What a play. Watch this. And he just has no chance. On the second roll, he has no shot. His back to the bag. But boy, what a nice effort.
Well, I think Anderson Hernandez has convinced everybody he can play the middle infield.
Oh, we gotta get him to hit somehow, some way.
And we've seen some good signs lately. Well, last chance for the Houston Astros, down to their final 3 outs of the year unless they can rally. And they've got the opportunity. You saw the Cardinals trailing 5-0.
Cardinals back into it.
Well, winning is winning. On Tuesday, nobody will care. Felipe Lopez 0 for 2.
And it's 3:30 East Coast time on the last game of the season, and still don't know who we're going to play.
Nope. And you won't till about 7 o'clock tonight when the Padres and Dodgers get done. Padres play in Arizona. They don't start till 4:40. Here's a breaking ball for a strike. 0-2. Dodgers and Giants. Giants failed in their effort to knock the Dodgers out. That's always the goal of the Giants. And the Dodgers reveled in celebrating in the Giants ballpark yesterday, clinching a postseason berth. Lopez fouled it away. So Tommy Lasorda saying, you see him? Said, there's nothing better than clinching against the hated Giants.
Tommy, he's a piece of work. Tough to get away from him now when the conversation, Keith?
Oh, he can yap. He always was a talker.
He's Vern Rapp.
And Lopez lifts one to left center. Millage shading his eyes and makes the grab. 2 away. So 2 out. George Lombard coming up. Lombard up for the second time after taking over for Soriano in left field. Hey, the Jets have gone in front of the Colts.
You didn't notice?
21-17.
6 minutes left.
Wow.
Just saw Chad Pennington screaming at his defense to hold that line.
They got the hold. They got to put a hold on Indy.
By the way, Pennington's a winner.
But folks, don't change the dial. Stay with us.
This is why they invented picture-in-picture.
We're doing both games. No big deal.
You can watch that in the corner while you listen to us.
We'll tell you what's happening. Manning back to pass.
You can play-by-play for Keith. You've been waiting all your life to do that. Foul back this way, and it's 0-2 to Lombard. Well, the Mets will head home after the game tonight, take tomorrow off, completely off, and then have a workout at Shea at 1 o'clock on Tuesday, and then play game 1 of the National League Division Series at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. Runner goes, and Lombard fouls it off.
That is true, though. You know, we'd have a lot more to talk about in this game if we knew who the Mets were going to play.
You don't think we have enough to talk about? Somehow we managed to hold our own with that every day. One and 2 to Lombard. I mean, have you felt at a loss for subject matter this entire season?
No, but the onus is, the burden's on you. You're the play-by-play. You're the one that's got to do the most yapping. We just do analysis.
And boy, do I need analysis.
2
and 2 to Lombard. Castro at first and 2 down. 6-1 Mets, 7th inning. And Lombard Down the left field line, foul. Might have broken his bat. While we have a moment and we've been doling out thank yous, I want to thank our core crew, starting with our producer Greg Picker, who, you know, this is my first year doing television, and Greg has taught me an enormous amount about how to do this, and I know he's done the same with you, Ronnie.
Absolutely, Greg.
And you know, he holds the entire show together, points us in the right direction every day, gives us great insight into, you know, how to make this a successful product. And Greg, you've been fabulous. Lombard hits one in the air deep down the right field line, hooking, and it's foul. The incredible Bill Webb, the best director in the business, and we're blessed to have the best director in all of baseball television.
It's amazing. He's sick a lot, but other than that, he's amazing.
And how do you mean that? Be a little more precise on his sickness.
He's using a lot of cold products today.
Well, he flies a lot in those tin cans. He's up there with all those people flying all the time, all over the country, and picks up a virus here or two.
And we also need to thank Dan Barr and Tony Lanny, who have worked so hard. Dan, who does our graphics, among other things, and Tony, who puts together all those great video packages that you see. Thanks, guys. You guys have been absolutely vital, and it has been a pleasure working with all of you all year long. I look forward to doing it again next year. The Astros season is over. The Cardinals are the Central champs. Eighth inning on the season's final day. John Roush takes over the pitching for the Nationals. And there's your Toyota National League scoreboard. So we now know the 4 teams who will be in the National League postseason. The Astros eliminated. The Cardinals win the National League Central. Everything else is moot. And there you see the late games. Those are of import. The Dodgers in San Francisco. San Francisco at Arizona. Melvin Dorta moves over to shortstop for the Nationals as Felipe Lopez comes out of the game. And Henry Mateo takes over at third. There's Valentin leading off in the 8th, already 3 for 3 today. Two and 1 to Valentin. And the Colts took the lead.
Colts took the lead.
Yeah, they had a bad call on the Jets. They called a interference call, and it was offensive interference.
I don't think they should call them referees. They should call them thieves. Just horrible.
A terrible call.
Oh, wow. 2 and 2 to Valentin.
Sometimes I wonder.
So the Jets are down 24-21 with 2.5 minutes. That'll come back. Chad's a winner. Is that what you said?
Chad is a winner. Chad Pennington is a winner.
He needs to stay healthy.
And I'll tell you, Mangini's got those guys playing tough. He's got those Jets playing hard.
Well, they've already won twice on the road, which is hard to do. 2 and 2 to Valentin as the world's tallest pitcher, John Roush, makes his final appearance of the year, and he walks Valentin, who's been on base 4 times in a row today. That's a nice way to finish the regular season. Anderson Hernandez will come up. Hernandez with a 2-run triple today in his 3 at-bats. And he takes ball 1. Well, this is our Coors Light Cold Blast. Usually we highlight a home run, but not today. It's Anderson Hernandez with a triple to the gap to chase home 2. First major league triple for Anderson. And a breaking ball for a strike, 1-1.
Well, when you look at Hernandez, it's kind of funny because you think that if he earned out a hit, that second base job would be his. But what he did with Jose Valentin, he's proven that he's still got a lot of time left.
Oh my goodness. Touchdown, Jets, no flag.
Kickoff return for a touchdown. How about that?
Wow. How would Lindsey Nelson have called that? To the 10, 20, 25, 30 yard line. I used to love Lindsey Nelson on those Notre Dame football games.
And now with, after an exchange of punts, let's move to further action. Anderson Hernandez strikes out, and that's the first out. They show those, what, 11:30 at night on Channel 11 in New York.
They used to show them on Sunday morning.
Really?
A day after in San Francisco. It'd be like 10 o'clock in the morning. It'd be the Notre Dame highlights with Lindsey Nelson.
That's right.
Here's Ramon Castro to pinch hit. Castro started behind the plate last night and hit a home run. So it looks like he's ready to go for the postseason. And we talked about it last night with the Mets probably going to carry 3 catchers. Castro will have a role as a right-handed bat off the bench.
A home run in last night's game. Castro has come back and he looks like he's in mid-season form. I was really going to be worried about his conditioning, whether he was ready to go with that bulky knee, but he looks fine.
And in all probability, he's not going to be doing any catching in the postseason unless LaDuca gets hurt. Just for a matter of being sharp at the plate, and it looks like he is. Those instructional league at bats paid off. He goes down swinging there, and it's the second out. How about that turn of events at the Meadowlands? 28-24 Jets, 2:20 to go.
That was about 103-4 yards, that return.
Yes, and the Jets need to do a little Archie Bell and the Drells here and tighten up on defense.
Do you have a vested interest in the Jets today?
Well, I have them cool. This game's in the KIP now. Jets are +9.
Chavez goes the other way, right at Lombard, and that'll end the inning. We go to the bottom of the 8th on the final day of the season, 6-1 New York. Sportsnet New York presents Jets All Access. Hey, Jets fans, here's your shot at VIP access to the Jets studio shows at SNY, sweet tickets to a Jets game, pre-game on-field passes, and so much more. Log on to sny.tv starting tomorrow to enter and win.
Oh, Guillermo Mota now in for the Mets to get his work. Have to be more than pleasantly surprised at the way he's come over and taken charge. Struggling over there with the Cleveland Indians. Came over and just has regained his 2003-2004 form.
As he puts more rosin on his hat, his changeup becomes even more devastating.
He's a power forward masquerading as a pitcher.
He is a big guy. He really is. Amazing that he started out his professional career as a shortstop in the Mets organization. Henry Mateo up for the first time. Came in for defense in the last inning. Brian Schneider lurking in the Nationals dugout, getting his first major league experience as a first baseman today. Michael Tucker, bat in hand. Ball 1 to Mateo. So who's not going to pitch today?
Heilman. I mean, he might still.
He might get in next.
I think Wagner's going to want an inning.
Well, Wagner pitched Friday. Heilman hasn't pitched since Thursday.
I got to think Wagner. I mean, Heilman needs some work.
Maybe
right?
maybe they'll split the ninth.
Well, it's like a spring training game. Why don't we just play 10?
Oh, you need pitchers need work.
Yes.
Just play an extra inning.
Let's play an extra inning.
That's the first time I've ever heard you ask for another inning. Ever.
We'll go off the air, of course.
Coverage on the web. Hit in the air down the left field line. Long run from Millage, and he makes the dive, and he made the catch. There's a tremendous play by Lastings Millage.
Well, he got a long way to run here. And this is just a very fine catch. Nicely done. Nice hustle. Wow. There went the shades. You can see the distance he had to run here. Very nice.
Shades go back on the hat upside down. Still don't get that. Here's Brandon Harper batting for the first time. I mean, Reyes does that too. Is that just a fashion thing, wearing those shades on the hat and upside down?
You got to have it on the hat, upside down, and the back pocket out. That's the new look.
I also think that's an endorsement too.
You think the upside down part?
There's absolutely no. That's the style. Styling.
I mean, you can't wear them upside down. Maybe they stay on better that way on your hat. I'm just
I haven't the slightest idea. I like the old flip flops.
Flip downs.
Flip downs, yes.
Hit hard. That's a foul ball.
You know, it's funny you say that about the flip downs. Is there? Jose Valentin probably knows how to wear them. Not a lot of players now know how to wear the flip downs and how to use them. Because the Oakleys have been around, what, since the middle 80s?
Jack Cordero, the Nationals closer. See, Woody's got flipped down.
Of course, he's old school, Woody.
There you go. They're sweet. Look how stylish.
They look good, too.
Harper pulls another one foul. I will never forget watching Ryan Klesko, left field, Saturday afternoon at Shea Stadium. You know, he played mostly first base in his career. He was new to the outfield. He had the flip downs on, and the ball went up in the air, and he kept trying to flip the glasses down, but he kept hitting his hat instead. He couldn't get it.
His hat came down over his eyes.
You know what that'd have been in our club? That'd have been a major fine.
For embarrassing the ball club.
You're fined.
I mean, do you need to practice that? Flipping down your sunglasses?
Well, Keith, and my generation of players grew up with it. Just can't panic. Just a little flip down.
Harper with the chopper. And Hernandez throws him out, 2 away.
Keith, you featured the flip down with the eye black, didn't you?
I didn't like the eye black that much because when I was hitting, I could always see out of the corner of my eye, my right eye. I could see the black, and it was just bothered me.
You got to have pretty good peripheral vision to be able to do that. See the eye black on your cheek?
Well, how do you think I hit 300?
Not with your eyes closed. Ryan Schneider 0 for 3. Schneider.
You know what I like about Mota? It's not only that, you know, he throws an 87-mile-an-hour changeup, 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but his fastball has a lot of movement on it.
The way the Colts just scored with under a minute to go.
Oh, what a shame.
It's not over yet.
Nope.
50 seconds to go. Maybe the Jets can run back another kickoff for a touchdown. 2-0 to Schneider. Manning guy's pretty good.
You give Manning, Tom Brady, all those kind of guys 2 minutes and the ball. Too bad.
Schneider hits one in the air to right center field, and Green has room. And that ends the inning. So 1-2-3 inning for Guillermo. Mota helped out by a terrific catch by Lastings Millage, who found his place along the left field line. We go to the ninth.
Matt Yaloff here with your Chevrolet Baseball Day in New York update. Gary and the guys have been talking about it, and here it is, the final out of the season for the Houston Astros. They made a miraculous run toward possibly making it to the postseason, but they fall short. They lose to the Braves. Gary, please.
All right, Matt, there was a valiant effort by the Astros trying to come from 8.5 back with 12 to go. Meanwhile, here in Washington, another standing ovation for Frank Robinson, who's been getting them repeatedly over the last couple of days as he approaches his final inning as a big league manager. And he's going to need that entire towel, I think, to hold back the tears when this one's over. Chad Cordero will pitch the final inning for the Nationals.
Well, Cordero with those 29 saves, not quite as strong a year as he had last year. He hasn't had quite as strong a team, but Cordero amazing as you see that.
See you guys next year.
Oh, nice.
That's very nice. Thank you. You know, we've had a great time here, and I want to thank you guys. You know, we've known each other for a long, long time, but you know, I had no idea it would be this much fun.
And I must say, it was great fun, but I think the broadcast crew,
Yes.
it has been an enormous amount of fun involved, everybody involved.
It's funny, I've known you for a long time, Gary, and of course Keith and I played for such a long time, but you don't know how that translates, right? In a booth, and it couldn't have been excited to come to work every single day, and that's the best compliment I can give you two.
Well, I liked the fact that we had both the expert play-by-play professionalism, Gary, and the fact that you bring the pitcher's end of things and I can bring the hitting end. I think it's a nice balance.
Yes.
And I hope you fans out there enjoyed it. And we know we can't please all of you, but hopefully we please the great majority.
And we had fun. That was the most important thing. You know, you guys are so great at bringing the game to life for people in a way that, you know, we who didn't play the game can't possibly. But it's more than that. It's a feeling of camaraderie. It's a feeling of, you know, just enjoying each other's company, and I think that shows through on the air.
Yes. I'm looking forward to next year. Well, I can wait 5 months, but I'm looking forward to next year.
You'll definitely be back.
Yeah, of course. I'll be back.
You're not like retiring to Tahiti or something.
I got a 2-year deal.
Good job.
They didn't give me an option, though, like you.
I have no option.
We might all be optioned.
Millage drives one to deep left center field. Church going back, and he reels it in on the warning track. So Millage, after making the great catch, nearly had himself a long ball. Came up a bit shy, and there's one away. Check out the AOL game summary. Mets put together 9 hits to score 6 runs in the second inning, and they've cruised from there. And yes, our first season of Mets game coverage completed, but we'll be with you throughout the postseason as well, with pre- and post-game coverage of every Mets game. Michael Tucker pinch hitting, lifts one to left field, and Lombard's got it 2 away. Ronnie and I will be on the scene.
Just the most important thing is after we do that pregame, I got to fight for you and I for a nice position to watch these games.
I'm sure that they will find a very nice spot on the press level for us to enjoy the games and get ready for all of your expert analysis after the game. Break down every moment of it.
I will, and I'm just happy to be able to watch the games. Postseason games at Shea without having to get anyone out. Boy, that's nice.
1-1 to Woodward, and it takes a strike.
Remember we had that advertisement earlier in the season about 6 different games happening at the same time, and we said there's no way Keith could do it. We were wrong. Keith can multitask.
Oh yes. I can.
I think frankly Keith can multitask better than any of us.
I think you're right.
We've witnessed that all year long.
Well, I've worked very hard at it this year to improve my multitasking. Multitasking.
I mean, between the computer, the text message, and the popcorn, it's amazing you can find time for the game.
I'm very focused.
I'm very impressed.
I don't miss a trick. You may think I'm not paying attention, but
Sly like a fox, right?
I got eyes in the back of my head.
Woodward pops one to shallow right, and Fick can't quite make the play. And Woodward's got himself a 2-out hit. Good effort by Fick. Well, the Mets are heading to the postseason, and so is their TV home, Sportsnet New York. Before and after every postseason game, Ronnie and I and our whole SNY crew will be there with North Fork Bank pregame and Nissan postgame live, bookending every Mets postseason game only on Sportsnet New York. John Green 2 for 4 on the day after a 3-run homer yesterday, so very nice signs for Green heading into postseason play. Toward the middle of the diamond, and a base hit for Green, his 3rd hit of the game. Woodward will go to 3rd. And the Mets have runners at the corners with 2 down.
Well, the game sort of out of reach here, but all these things, nice little signs. John Green getting some base knocks. For Floyd with a good hit today.
And here's Franco, who's 1 for 4. He's driven out a run. That's now with 13 hits in the game. Chad Cordero, the Nationals closer, trying to work through this inning. And he's behind on Franco, 2-0. Woodward at 3rd, Green at 1st, and 2 down. And Dorda gets the force play at 2nd to end the inning. So we go to the last of the 9th. Last 3 outs of the regular season. Aaron Heilman will try and secure them for New York. Well, Frank Robinson's career on the field and in uniform about to come to a close, along with the regular season. What's he going to do with that cap when he's done?
I want it. I would keep it.
It would be quite a memento, wouldn't it? I'll tell you what, you were right. He has smiled more these last 2 days than I think we've ever seen Frank smile. At least in the dugout during a game.
And thanks for the memories. That absolutely goes to Frank. You will see him. Frank lives in Los Angeles. I see him there all the time in the winter, and he loves his Lakers and loves his golf.
And he's going to find a meaningful job for himself in the baseball realm. What that's going to be remains to be seen, but it'll be something meaningful. You can be sure of that.
Well, Aaron Heilman on the pitch the 9th, going to get his work in here, and I don't think enough can be said about Aaron Heilman in this second half after Duaner Sanchez, of course, got hurt in the taxi cab incident in Miami. Heilman was told that his role was going to be very important in this team, and can I tell you, he has taken to it and has been outstanding in the second half.
And you make a great point, Ron. That there was great concern. I think that one of the reasons why they traded Nady.
Backhanded by Franco, and Heilman takes a bad step there, but appears to be okay. And there's one away.
I think that they traded Nady because Heilman was such an up and down year. They did not have the confidence at that point. Made the trade for Hernandez to be as a safety. And then Heilman, once he got that roll, Ron, he just stepped right into it. He's been terrific.
I think he went through a little uneven period as Ryan Church comes to bat, where the Mets were auditioning all these different starting pitchers, and I think at one point he had to say, how about me? I mean, that's what he's always wanted to do. And the best decision the Mets made all year was no decision. And that meant kept Heilman in the bullpen. And, you know, things just work out sometimes, and they worked out for Aaron.
And imagine if they hadn't. Imagine if they'd made the other choice and put Heilman in the rotation, which might or might not have worked out. They wouldn't have traded for El Duque. They wouldn't have discovered John Maine as an effective starting pitcher. And perhaps wouldn't be where they are right now. 3-0 to Ryan Church. Dave Williams getting some work in the bullpen. So it looks like Billy Wagner will not pitch today. Wagner last pitched on Friday night. There's a strike, 3-1.
I saw Billy throwing before the game, though, with Rack, who's the bullpen catcher.
Dave
and he was throwing,
Rack.
yeah, he's throwing about 85–90% to him out in the outfield. So he got a lot of work in.
Oh, don't forget the Sportsnet New York Plaza in Midtown is the spot for the Mets postseason rally Tuesday at noon. All fans will need to enter at 51st and 7th to gain access to the rally at 51st and 6th. Celebrate the year you've been waiting for. For more information, visit Mets.com. And don't forget tomorrow night, Ronnie and I'll be outside of that Sportsnet Plaza doing the postseason live show. David Wright will be our special guest.
Very nice of him on his off day to come and do that show with us.
He has done so much off the field this year to help the ball club and the network. And it's nice that David has finished his regular season very strong, getting ready for his postseason debut on Wednesday.
Well, he's had a little taste of it with the clinching night, and you know, the 86th night on August 19th, a huge crowd there, but he's not going to believe what it's going to feel like at about 5 o'clock, 5:30 on Wednesday evening.
Church lines it down the right field line, and he's got himself an extra base hit. So Ryan Church with the 1-out double. Well, it's been quite a year for David Wright in so many respects. The home run derby, the all-star game, all the adulation. He was on the cover of all those magazines in the spring. And you can't think of a single hiccup that it's really caused him along the way.
He had some big hits for the team in the first half. I mean, walk-off hits. I think the hit off Mariano Rivera in the opening night against the Yankees at Shea Stadium was, you know, the Mets, the way the Yankees have played the last 10 years, the Mets are trying to play catch-up a little bit. And I'll tell you, this season they made huge strides to say that the Mets are here.
Well, they've got a good left side of that infield. Young, it's the foundation of this ball club, and Reyes and Wright.
Melvin Dorta fouls it off.
Either way you slice it, David Wright hit 300 again. Yes. He drove in 100 runs again. He hit over 25 home runs again. I mean, he's had a phenomenal season.
Jose Reyes had a breakthrough year. I mean, a year that everyone expected he's going to have, and I don't even. There's so far more to go. There's so more to go for Jose Reyes.
0-2 to Dorta. And Heilman strikes him out. And now the season is down to its final out. Well, Willie Randolph keeps saying that Reyes has only scratched the surface.
Wow, that's scary. That is scary.
Well, Willie's all ready to bring his team into the postseason on Wednesday. And, you know, for all the hand-wringing about all the games the Mets lost down the stretch of the season, they're about to win their 4th straight to close out the year. On the verge of their 97th win. Bernie Castro, 1 for 4, and he takes a strike. And here in Washington, the fans spontaneously are rising to their feet in one final tribute to their exiting manager, Frank Robinson. Little bloop, and that's a base hit for Castro that'll keep the season alive. Church comes in to score, and it's 6-2. Another smile from Frank. Not ending just yet.
Oh,
Chad gets to close it out.
Well, they're out of healthy players. Austin Kearns and Nook Logan, the only two left on the lineup card, and they're both injured. And so Cordero gets a rare turn at bat.
Riverside, California in the house with Chad Cordero.
Cordero has one at bat this year. And the Chief grounds one foul. 1-1. It's a nice smile. Made contact.
Hanging in there.
And now Cordero and the season down to their final strike.
Oh! Oh, almost hit him in the head.
Certainly not what Heilman intended.
You think that Chad's going to be sticking in there this time? No. Look at this. Oh! What's behind his head?
Lucky he got out of the way.
I think a fastball away would just be perfect right now.
They're having fun with it out there.
Fastball away.
In there for a call, strike 3. The ball game and their regular season come to an end. The Mets get their 97th win. It's the end of an era for Frank Robinson. Willie Randolph and the Mets closing out a fabulous regular season with their 97th win, and it's time for Frank to say goodbye. And he has been saying goodbye with elegance for the last several days now. And now for one final time, they'll get to say his goodbyes. Frank Robinson, after over 2,000 games as a player and over 2,000 games as a manager, and 5 years as the skipper of a team who, when he took the job, was supposed to be contracted after 1 year, says goodbye to the uniform, but certainly not goodbye to baseball. The Mets win the ball game 6-2 and finish the season winning 97 and losing 65. And getting ready for the National League Division Series beginning on Wednesday at Shea Stadium. Frank Robinson, who meant so much to baseball in both a playing sense and a social sense, heads off into the sunset.
Hey, listen, Frank doesn't take this job with this Expo / now Nationals team. This team maybe doesn't come to Washington, so fans here really appreciate that, of course.
Well, they helped keep baseball alive in Montreal and birthed it again here in the nation's capital. And the regular season draws to a close here, and we'd just like to thank all of you out there for being a part of it this year on Sportsnet New York. It has been it's been the infancy of a new network, and we've taken it from its birth in the middle of March to where we are today here on the 1st of October. It's been a magnificent season for the Mets, and I know we've had a great time.
I've had a wonderful time, and I've enjoyed working with you two guys, and looking forward to next year. And let's face it, we try not to be homers here. We're Met fans at heart, and I wish the Mets good luck in the postseason. I hope they go all the way, and you guys carry the torch till the playoffs are over.
They will, and you enjoy yourself in Florida, but I think it's just, I say the same as Keith, as Chad. Mets have had a magical year. There's no reason for them not to stop now and keep getting, the flags, more celebrations, and get into the World Series.
Well, we look forward to 19 pregame and postgame shows on SNY as the postseason moves forward. The Mets finishing a tremendous season as National League East champions, 97 wins and 65 losses. There's your final score in the final game of the season. The Mets 6 and the Nationals 2. Coming up next, it's Nissan Postgame Live. But first, let's take a look at all the names of the folks who made our broadcast possible here on Sportsnet New York throughout the 2006 season. Shallow center, it may fall in. Here comes Chavez with a great diving catch. Delgado to deep left field. That goes Bay at the track, at the wall. It's out of here. Carlos Delgado wins the game with an opposite field home run.
Rip. Oh, what a play by Wright for one.
Oh, wow.
Double play. So Wagner ready. The 1-2. Put it in the books. One of the most spectacular road trips in the history of the New York Mets has concluded.
So the Mets finish the regular season on a mini roll as they complete the sweep in Washington, scoring 19 runs in the last 2 games. This is Nissan Postgame Live, and a programming reminder, the SNY crew is standing by to bring you Dunkin' Donuts Jets Postgame Live. That's immediately following this show as a frantic finish at the Meadowlands today. Matt Yaloff here for the final postseason show of the regular season, or the postgame show of the regular season, but by no means is the last throughout the Mets playoffs. SNY brings you North Fork Bank pregame live and Nissan postgame live for every Mets game. Plus, Mets postseason live special starting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. David Wright will be here along with Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, and myself for SNY postseason live here in the Midtown Manhattan studios as the Mets get set to take on the wild card team in Game 1 of the NLDS on Wednesday afternoon. Now to today's game. The Mets record win number 97 on the day Frank Robinson manages his final Major League game. Before the game, before the players hit the field, a tribute to Robinson, a Hall of Famer and the first ever African-American to ever manage in the Major League.
I'd like to take the time to congratulate, as a matter of fact, the New York Mets organization for winning the Eastern Division Championship. Contrary to what a lot of people may think, I'm not retiring. I've never done anything harder than I have to do right now. And that's to say goodbye.
Quite a moment before the game at RFK. Frank Robinson hugging the Mets players, showing their appreciation for what he's done for this game in the last half century. And then the lineup cards, Willie Randolph and Frank Robinson at home plate. The umpire saying goodbye to Robinson. He's not going to retire, but he's done managing in Major League Baseball. First inning of the game, Cliff Floyd leading off the game to get some at-bats. Willie Randolph has him in there to see what he can do heading into the second season. Pops out here in foul territory. Move to the second inning, no score. David Wright leading off, and the comebacker through the legs of Ramon Ortiz. That's an infield hit. Wright had 2 hits in the inning. 2 hits in the second inning. Sean Green into the corner. David Wright goes first to third. One of Green's 2 hits in the inning, so the Mets were rolling in the second. Next batter, Julio Franco. Huge game last night. The ageless wonder with the RBI single. David Wright comes in, and the Mets are up 1-0. Next batter, Jose Valentin. Big day for Valentin, the single. Sean Green comes in. 4 straight hits for the Mets. And they were in that slump a week or two ago, or just a few days ago, but they seem to be breaking out. Anderson Hernandez playing in this game, and he drives the ball to right center all the way to the wall. That's a triple. Franco comes in. Valentin comes in. The Mets go up 4-0. Then Cliff Floyd. The shot to center, and look at that. Ryan Church is frozen. Anderson Hernandez comes in. Floyd given a double. The Mets are up 5-0. Next batter, Paul LaDuca, the single to right field. Floyd goes from second all the way to home. Maniacta wants to see Floyd run. Now that ankle's been a problem. He scores, Mets up 6-0. Frank Robinson back on the field this time. No real ovations, just to give Ortiz the good job, kid. Go get him. Have a good offseason. Oliver Perez going for the Mets, stepping into action as Steve Traxel, taking care of personal matters, could not start in the season finale. And Perez looking pretty good. Brian Schneider goes down. Third inning now with runners on. Gets Bernie Castro looking. A couple of batters later, Alfonso Soriano is up with the bases loaded. This guy's always dangerous. He's a 40-40-40 guy, and this is a little pop-up, harmless, no harm done. Still 6-0 Mets, so Perez does very, very well through 4. Mets playing a little defense here. Ryan Zimmerman, he's out. Anderson Hernandez with the grab, and another, look at the snow cone. Anderson Hernandez starting in place of Jose Reyes. We know he has the glove. We saw it early in the year. We see it late in the year. Brian Schneider, look at, hold your breath. A near collision. Beltran on the right. Floyd on the left. Floyd gets out of the way, and Floyd kind of just taking care of the wardrobe there. Beltran, are you okay? Did it get you? Didn't get you. That's good. All right, that's a good thing. So here it is now, the Nationals in a 6-1 game with the bases loaded. Sean Green laying out. 6-1. Perez goes 4. We move all the way to the 9th inning of this game when Aaron Heilman is in to nail things down. Wagner gets the day off, resting up for round 1. Final batter of the game, Chad Cordero, the Nationals relief pitcher. There it is. That's the final strike of the regular season. The Mets win. Frank Robinson ends his season as the Nationals manager 6-2. is your final score. So the Mets win 97 games. That equals their win total from 1999. And for the diehard Mets fans, how about this? The Mets are 23-22 in regular season finales, and they run their record to 51-40 in regular season games in the month of October. It's the only calendar month in which the Mets franchise has a winning record. Go figure. One of the hitting stars today, Jose Valentin, spoke with our Chris Cotter.
Jose, you got 3 hits today, so obviously that's what you were looking for heading into the postseason.
Definitely, something that I wish was kind of finish strong. This month's kind of been rough for me, pretty much, and something that you don't want to go that struggle when you're doing postseason. So even then, it's a new season and postseason, but you don't want to go, you don't want to take your chances that way. So what better day today? Last game in the regular season. Got 3 hits, and 4 at-bats. So hopefully continue to get that approach in the home plate and have a great postseason.
Well, the regular season is over. It's been a great season, but you guys have had a big lead all year. You've had it wrapped up for 2 weeks. Are you ready for the postseason finally?
Definitely. That's the time that we're waiting for. That's why we work so hard this season, from spring training on, and even though we got such a big lead early in the year, or late in the year too, we never backing down. We always kind of continue to play hard, try to win this game many games that we can, and also try to keep everybody fresh and healthy. So that's a bigger thing to go to the postseason where everybody healthy. And the way we finished the season with 4 in a row after a kind of rough one. So that's the way you want to go to the postseason, with the same enthusiasm, same type of baseball you played the last couple of games. And like I said, we're ready for it, so we can't wait.
Finally, a nice way to end the season with a win and a good offensive performance, but also seeing Frank Robinson off. Was that emotional for you and your teammates before the game?
That's a great experience for me. It's another great experience for me in my career, and like I said, I never get to meet the guy before, but I know who he is. I know what kind of person, great player that he was, and miss a guy like that in the game is something that it means a lot. So he gives so much to this game, to the national organization, and he also with the Expos. So Frank is one of those heroes in this game, and like I said, you always got to remember.
All right, thanks, Jose. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Thank you.
All right, Jose Valentin, I mentioned a hitting star today, 3 for 3 with an RBI. That qualifies. A lot of crooked numbers. Sean Green, nice day. David Wright, nice day. Cliff Floyd in the leadoff spot. They had him there to get some more at-bats today to test that ankle out and see what he has. 1 for 3 with a double and an RBI. So the Mets as a team now suddenly in the last few days have come around offensively. Oliver Perez did a fine job, pressed into action today as the Mets starter. Steve Traxel away from the team dealing with personal matters. Perez doesn't get the win. He didn't go long enough. He goes just 4, but allows just 1 run in the regular season finale. So perhaps Oliver Perez will play a large part in the Mets' future. Who knows? And the relievers get work today. That was the design going in. 5 of them to be exact. And Feliciano, Bradford, Mota, Heilman, all of them figure to play a major role in the postseason for the Mets. They have done such a great job all season long. Coming up on Nissan Postgame Live, Keith and Ron from D.C. with a little analysis, a look back and a look ahead at what to expect in the postseason. Highlights and scores from around the league as the Mets wait to see which team they'll play in round 1. We'll give you these scenarios there. And Willie Randolph's daily session with the media in its entirety. We'll have it for you here on Nissan Postgame Live. SNY's postseason coverage rolls into the playoffs. In fact, we jack it up a tad. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, the first installment of Mets Postseason Live. Mets third baseman David Wright joins me, Ron Darling, and Gary Cohen on the SNY Plaza at 51st and 6th. It's only on Sportsnet New York. We're coming right back. Welcome back to Nissan Postgame Live. A quick programming note for you. The SNY crew is standing by. Dunkin' Donuts Jets Postgame Live follows this show. An amazing finish, a frantic finish today for the Jets and Colts. I'll have that for you after Nissan Postgame Live. So we continue on now with the Mets, and that means Ron and Keith from RFK for one final time in the regular season, guys. And are the Mets in a position now to be heavily favored in the National League playoffs, and where do they stand in your view?
Well, I think when I look at the Mets, everyone's talking about who they're going to play, the Dodgers, Padres. To me, who cares? I think they are the class of the National League. I think if they play up to the standard that they've set all season long, then I think they'll walk through the National League. Simple as that. Now, the big if is if they can do that, if they can get enough starting pitching. And I think El Duque and Glavine, the way they've pitched down the stretch, they pitched wonderfully. They look like they're ready to go. Getting that ball to the bullpen and the offense, Keith, has really woken up, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, I agree with Ronnie. They are clearly the best team in the National League. Their record proves it. They just stormed through the league all year. So, but, you know, that's why they play the games. Anything can happen in a short series. So now it's a different level here. We're going on to a different phase of the season, the postseason. And I would have to give them a decided edge. I think they've worked out all their pitching woes, and I think Willie's going to, like Ronnie said, is going to go to the bullpen if there's any trouble. He's real quick. He's got 6 solid guys or 7 solid guys down there. He will hope to get 5-6 innings out of his starter and go to the starters and go to the bullpen.
All right, talk a little bit about Cliff Floyd in particular, Keith, and in the leadoff spot today, get more at bats. We saw him run a little bit. He's an important piece here because his effectiveness will dictate how the bench is used.
Well, you know, Cliff had the cortisone shot, and he was moving a little bit. He showed some pain today and a little bit of stiffness in his running, but you don't open up until Wednesday. It would be great to have Cliff in the lineup. As we said during the game, Gary, Ronnie, and I, with Green in right field, who's not as fast as he used to be. There's a lot of pressure on Carlos Beltran to really play a fabulous and aggressive center field to cover up for any defensive deficiencies. It was a good game for Floyd to play and get 5 at bats, so I think that's a positive. And the other things too, the Mets got 13 more hits. I was more concerned about the offense. They had a terrific series here, and they ended on a positive note, 4 in a row.
All right, and again, the pen now. Pedro Feliciano, Ron, a lefty who doesn't get a whole lot of press. He doesn't start, doesn't close. How important will he be in the middle of a postseason game for this team?
Well, I think you've seen it all season long. He and also Chad Bradford are going to play an important role because what happens, I think, is that the starters are going to try to get into the 6th. And if they can get into the 6th and get into any kind of trouble, it will be Feliciano and Bradford who get them through that inning and start the 7th and try to get them a little deeper into the ballgame. So Feliciano has been outstanding all season long. His ERA just around 2, and also has shown the ability to strike out left-handers, which is a key in case you have a guy on third, less than 2 outs. So Feliciano, just a fantastic year. I think a career year for him.
All right, nostalgia time now. No tears, please. As you look back on this regular season, high point for this team, was it that road trip, that 9-1 road trip? What was it? What stands out?
Well, I think the turning point in the season was obviously that West Coast road trip where they had that terrific road trip. And I think after they had that series in Philadelphia and they ended the road trip with that big win with Wagner getting a save, you can just sense the next time they came out to the ballpark when the first game of the homestand, a swagger and a sense of confidence in that they finally melded together and felt like they were a group. And that, to me, that was the turning point of the season.
Ronnie, thoughts on that?
Well, I was on that road trip, and I've never seen a road trip like that in my life. It was just unbelievable. It seemed like they had 3 or 4 runs on the board in the first inning every single game. Starting pitching was electric. Alay Soler pitched a shutout on that trip. So a lot of great things happened for them. But more importantly, I think that Carlos Beltran had an amazing trip, and I think he felt for the first time since he signed the contract 2 years ago that he was the #1 man, that he could produce those kind of numbers, and that he could really help this offense unlike he did last year. So Carlos Beltran, I think the confidence he got from that road trip really spread throughout the entire offense, and they've been clicking all season long.
And fitting they'll face a West Coast team in round 1, I guess. Keith, have a great offseason. Ron, we'll see you throughout the postseason.
All right, Matty.
All right, guys. Keith and Ron at RFK Stadium. We step aside, but before that, a reminder, the Mets and SNY are holding a rally on Tuesday, October 3rd at noon. The place, the SNY studios, and fans will enter at 51st and 7th Avenue. The studios are on 6th, but you enter on 7th. Help the Mets kick off their postseason run. Nissan Postgame Live continues after this. Back here on Nissan Postgame Live, more on the Mets in a bit, and Jets postgame coming up as well after this. But first, it's Steve Berthiaume for a look at what's coming up on Geico Sports Night.
That's right, Matt. Coming up on the early edition of Geico Sports Night, 6:30 on your TV dial and clock. The Yankees finish out their regular season schedule today will preview their upcoming American League Division Series matchup with either the Twins or the Tigers. And we'll have the latest from the West Coast as the Mets try to find out who they will play in their NLDS. So we'll have much more from the nation's capital, of course, on the Mets regular season finale, and a whole lot more coming up from a thrilling Jets-Colts game. You won't want to miss any of this. It's Geico Sports Night immediately following Dunkin' Donuts Jets postgame live. Right now, back to Matt and Nissan postgame live.
All right, thanks a lot, Steve. Big day here at SNY. Lots of sports, lots happening, and this game is a pivotal game as far as the Mets are concerned. The Giants and Dodgers in the third inning in San Francisco, the final game of the regular season for these teams, and we know that what the Dodgers do today will impact or may impact the team the Mets play in the first round. The Padres and Diamondbacks are not underway yet, but we'll tell you this. Wednesday at 4 o'clock, the Mets will play Game 1 of the NLDS against the Dodgers or the Padres. There are 3 scenarios in which the Mets will face the Dodgers. Here they are. 1, if the Padres win today in Arizona. 2, if the Dodgers lose in San Francisco. And 3, if the Padres win and the Dodgers win. The only scenario, the only way the Mets can face the Padres is if the Padres lose and the Dodgers win. So stay with SNY throughout the day, and when it happens, we'll tell you who the Mets will face on Wednesday in Game 1. Astros clinging to slim playoff hopes in Atlanta today. Astros need a win and then some major help to get in. This is not the help they're looking for. Jeff Francoeur, number 29, the Braves up. John Smoltz starting the final game of the regular season, and John Smoltz gets Aubrey Huff to line out with the bases loaded. So Phil Garner knows his team is in major trouble. 6th inning, 2 men on, and Orlando Palmeiro pinch hitting goes down there. The Astros season is over as the Braves defeat the Astros, and that means that despite losing today to Milwaukee, 5-3, the final, Milwaukee over the Cardinals. The Cardinals clinch the Central Division, so the Cardinals lose 10 of their last 14 games, but still move on to the postseason. The Cardinals will face the Western Division winner in round 1. That series begins Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Nissan Postgame Live takes another break, and remember, Jets Postgame Live is coming up here on SNY. And also, throughout the postseason, SNY brings you North Fork Bank pregame and postgame. Every day the Mets play here on Sportsnet New York. And there's also Geico Sports Night. Do not forget its comprehensive coverage of the Mets as they run toward what they hope is a World Series title. Geico Sports Night at 6, 10, and 1 a.m. So Willie Randolph's team finishes the regular season with 4 consecutive wins, 3 of them in Washington. They now have a couple of days off before they play Game 1 of the NLDS on Wednesday at Shea at 4 p.m. The opponent, unknown. It's either the Padres or the Dodgers. The Mets and the rest of us will know by the end of the day. Here's Willie Randolph a few minutes ago talking to the media at RFK Stadium.
Well, I guess the series couldn't have worked out any better for you. You got the offense going. You got to put all your relievers in today. I mean, it seems like everything's perfect, right?
Well, we hope that translates over into Tuesday or Wednesday when we play. But it's nice to finish up strong. You know, nice little sweep on the weekend. Get everybody feeling good about themselves going into the off day and work out on Tuesday. And looking forward to the real season. Excited about it. Looking forward to it. This is what you play for, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
Willie, what did you think of the Robinson tribute today?
It was awesome. It was great. Very deserving. Frank's meant a lot to this organization, the small time he's been here, and the fans really appreciate him. You can tell they have a lot of love for him, and he deserves all this. I mean, he's been great for the game of baseball as a player, manager, obviously. A lot of gratitude towards him and a lot of respect for a person who deserves everything he gets in the game because he's given so much to it. So
what did you say
really
to
nice
him
to see.
when you guys went out there?
That's private stuff, man. We just let him know how much I love him. That's all.
Well, what prompted the going out there to see him? You and the is it a prompted thing, or you planned on it all?
No, we just thought it would be the respectful thing to do, nice thing to do for him.
You want it off, so.
No, you can turn it off. No matter.
Well, I think you initially said that you wanted to get Billy in the game today. Did it just become something where you felt he didn't need the work?
Yeah, he said he didn't want to go in. Said he felt fine, so he'll get a little side, I guess, or whatever, and get ready.
Willie, what did you learn
from your time with the Yankees as a coach about the approach mentally to the postseason that you might impart upon some of the players that haven't been in it?
No, we've discussed those things briefly, periodically during the course of the last month or so, just basic, just fundamental stuff. You know, when you're in a situation like this, you need to deal with the anxiety of the pressure situation by yourself. So there's not really much you can say and do. If players want to talk about it, we do that. But I'm not going to have a speech about, you know, how to handle that. It's something you have to experience yourself.
How do you assess what Cliff did today and how he looks forward to postseason now?
Again, there's no big assessment to it. I mean, just the fact that he was able to go out and play, and he felt pretty good. Now we look forward to Wednesday. But you know, I didn't go into the game feeling like I had to see anything in particular from him. Just the fact that he was able to move around a little bit. He hit the ball well, but that didn't really mean a whole lot to me. It's just the fact that he got through the day without any complaints.
You hold your breath a little with him and Carlos getting a little
yeah, well, yeah, a little bit hairy for a second. You get flashbacks every once in a while when you see that happen, but the ball's up there a long time, and just Carlos was able to run it down.
With LA and San Diego tied in the NL West, will you guys be watching the scoreboard tonight?
I don't think so. No, we'll probably just get on the plane going back and enjoy our families. I'm sure some guys will, but you know, I won't be overly concerned about it. We know we're going to play, and we're looking forward to whoever it is.
All right, Willie Randolph there, stoic. You're looking forward to playing whoever it is. It's the Padres or the Dodgers. We'll know by the end of the day. We take another break here on Nissan Postgame Live. Jets Dunkin' Donuts Postgame Live comes up following this show. The Jets and Colts played just a wild game at the Meadowlands today. You'll want to hear what the postgame crew has to say about that. I'll be right back after this. Time now for the Nissan play of the game, and it happened before the game when the Mets, one by one, congratulate Frank Robinson after Robinson delivers a farewell speech to the Nationals fans. All of them out of the dugout along with the Nationals players. Robinson managed his final game in Major League Baseball, the first African-American manager ever. That was over 30 years ago, so Frank Robinson says goodbye, although he says he's not retiring. The upcoming schedule for the Mets, Game 1 of Round 1, Wednesday at 4 o'clock. The Mets will host either the Dodgers or the Padres. Game 2, Thursday at 8 p.m. Again, Padres or Dodgers. The rest of that first-round schedule will be released by Major League Baseball later in the week. It's all dependent on how television schedules and how all that other stuff works itself out. But we say goodbye here for the entire SNY crew. Thanks a lot for watching Nissan Postgame Live. We'll see you throughout the postseason, hopefully often. Jets Postgame Live is next with Brian Custer and the guys. Thanks for watching Geico Sports Night at 6. See you later.